so tight.
What did we just witness?
I think that White's position is about to collapse.
Yeah, but he sacrifices again, but
Oh
it's not a
my
sacrifice.
God.
It's a double attack.
If White does not win this is such a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Oh, but he could even lose this. 98!
No, that's too much.
David, I don't know what to say.
I need a moment to recover from that.
Hello, everyone, and welcome at Junior Speed Chess Championship. I am honored to be here with Grandmaster Srinath. Srinath, welcome at the show, and I think you'll be the main host and you'll be the brain of the show. So we already have the first result over here, and we have to go and dive into the games, of course. But first of all, welcome, and how do you feel today?
Uh, I feel great, Katie. It's good to be back with you after such a long time. I think it's been almost a month or more since we streamed together. So
Yeah.
it's lovely to be back, and it's lovely to be back watching Nihal again. I think one of the last streams we did was also exactly the same thing
Yes.
in the Speed Chess Championship when Nihal played against Richard Rapport. And
Yeah.
now here we are back again. And yeah, Nihal against Aronyak Ghosh in the Junior Speed Chess Championship, which Nihal has won for the last 2 years, by the way.
Shri, while we were starting the stream, Nihal has already managed to win this first game of his. So let's very quickly introduce the format to our viewers, and how many games, how long it's gonna last, and everything. Would you be kind to read it out for our viewers?
Sure. So the Junior Speeches Championship presented by SIG, it began on March 31. The qualifiers began all the way back in March 31. A few players were already seeded into the event. Top players like Nihal, Arjun, high-rated players, and some of them had to qualify. And Aronya Ghosh was one of the qualifiers, was made it to the quarterfinals, to the round of 16. So here we are at the round of 16, and it comprises of three formats: 5+1, 3+1, and 1+1. The 5+1 time control matches begin with 90 minutes remaining. So for the first 90 minutes, we are just going to see games played in the 5 minutes plus 1 second time control, followed by 60 minutes at the 3+1, 3 minutes plus 1 second time control. And finally, we have the bullet portion comprising of 30 minutes at 1 minute plus 1 second increment. And there will be a break midway after each of the segment. After 5 minutes plus 1 second increment, there's going to be a short break, followed by the 60-minute segment of 3 minutes plus 1 second, after which again there will be a break, and then finally we'll move to the bullet portion. And in case there is a tie break, then there will be 4 games of 1 minute plus 1 second played as a mini match. And if that is also tied, then finally we'll have an Armageddon. And the winner of this event qualifies to the 2022 Speed Chess Championship, which will happen at the end of the year. So this is the format. It's going to comprise of 3 hours, and it starts with the 5 minute plus 1 second portion, the blitz portion, kind of a slow blitz portion, Katie. And then it moves to the 3 minute portion. And I think the 3 minutes is the most popular time control in online chess. Almost everyone starts out, by playing the 3 minutes games.
Yeah.
And it really gives opportunities for players at each of the segment. What I've noticed is some of the top players, they're very good at the 5 minute plus 1 second portion, the blitz portion, because they have played at this longer time control blitz all their lives. But the younger kids, people like Ali Riza, they are exceptionally strong in the 1 minute portion, the 1+1. So it really gives a chance to different players. It really gives it really tests your speed chess. It's a true test of your speed chess abilities. And the whole thing, it started off as something called the Death Match series, all the way back many years ago. I think it was about 5 years ago. They started having these events called death matches, and I remember I and Nihal were fascinated by this, and we would have our own version of death matches with 100 games. And we'd play a series of 5+1 games, some 10 games, and then we'd move to 3+1. And we did this all OTB, and we kept playing until Nihal started beating me so ruthlessly that it stopped being a contest. So we used to have this 100 game series, which we used to call death match. And Nihal is, of course, quite well known, and we have mentioned him a few different times. A bit about Aronyak Ghosh. I think he's one of these one amongst these numerous underrated Indian players. He's not yet a grandmaster, but he's incredibly strong. I would say, he's as good as an average grandmaster out there, and probably will become a grandmaster very soon. And he's quite strong in the speed chess formats. He is a frequent player in all the local fast tournaments in India, and he comes from Kolkata, from West Bengal, and he has improved a lot after the 2020 lockdown. He has had several successes going his way after the 2020 lockdown, and from the top of my mind, I do remember he defeated Arjun Erigaisi. He defeated
Really?
yes, in one of the tournaments last year. He managed to defeat Arjun.
Okay. Sri, I'm just getting the information that this stream is lagging a little bit, and it might be because we also have the Zoom call of the players. So we have here a solution to leave this Zoom call and just to have the photos of the players. And this is the last time we can have them at the screen. So now we can see Nihal so focused, and also Aronyak with the second camera. So they have two cameras. One which shows their face, and Nihal is just kind of drinking water, and another video shows the whole room. So this is for a fair play game, and yeah, we have to unfortunately leave because we have a bit of lag on the stream. So Sri, I have to change now the scene. We will be still here, and maybe we can talk a little bit about the both players. Just as it is start, we have only one game has ended, so let's talk a little bit more about the chances between these two players, and if we know how they have reached up to here. And I'm gonna fix the lag. I'm gonna try to fix the lag problem as well.
Sure, Keti. So again, Nihal has won the last two junior speed chess championships, and he has made his way out here because the winner of the championship automatically retains the title. So in some ways, Nihal Sarin has kind of been like the Magnus Carlsen of the junior speed chess championship,
Yes.
or should I say Hikaru of the JSCC? I don't know, because both Magnus in the mainstream world championship, he keeps being the world champion, and Hikaru does the same in all the different chess.com tournaments. So which are you follow more?
Yeah.
Well, whichever analogy works for you. Meanwhile, Aronyak Ghosh is also pretty formidable himself. Not as well known as Nihal, but he's he's another typical teenager. He's a constant performer in the different national championships and the different rapid and blitz events held in Kolkata. So each time I see the tournaments in any tournament happening in his home city in Kolkata, the winner is usually Aronyak Ghosh or Mitraba or one of these players. So chat, how many of you have actually heard of Aronyak? Let us know.
But that's a
Rated
very good
2494,
question, Sri.
and his world ranking is 49 amongst the juniors. I'm sorry, Katie, did you say something?
That's very interesting because for me, I have to admit that I have not heard much about him. I just saw at this event for an obvious reason, right? Because now we don't have much of the over-the-board tournaments, and youngsters like himself, they don't have much of the opportunities to show their best. And this is the first time I see him. I'm so happy to see more and more chess players in the world. But I have to start. Answer your question. I have not heard much about this player, and very excited to see his games.
I'm pretty excited too, Katie. Again, you would think Nihal is a massive favorite, but Aronyak has been known to surprise his opponents, not in a very pleasant way. as I said, he has beaten Arjun Erikaisi in one of their mini matches last year, and he reached till the finals of one of the very prominent tournaments, speed chess tournaments among Indians. And right now, he seems to be doing pretty well against Nihal in the second game. He might have been a bit nervous in his first game, but in the second game, he's up a pawn. He's clearly up a pawn. His knight is doing better than Black's bishop. The light square bishop kind of, held on by the f3 pawn. So it looks like he's going to equalize, and he also has about a minute more. Nihal, on the other hand, he's playing right now from Spain. He just played a tournament in Norway in Fagernes in Norway, and he has another tournament coming up in Spain, which is starting tomorrow. So it's a pretty
wow.
busy schedule for Nihal. And
Wait, is he going on to play a lot of tournaments in Spain? Because in the end of the month, I'm also going to Spain for my chess tournament, and I maybe meet him.
Oh, you're going to play this Formentra, yes?
Yes.
Yes. You might meet some of a few Indian grandmasters at least. I'm not sure who exactly, but
they are
I'm
one
sure
of
there
the
will be many.
first top 5 players, or first top 10 players are basically Indians, and they kicked me out from
The game
BF10.
has turned around, Katie. The game has turned around. Aronyak just blended this pawn, rook into g5 check, king f4, and rook c5, and Nihal has regained the pawn. And with rook c8, the rook will be completely safe, bishop on e6, and I think the second game is heading towards a draw.
Wow, this is something unexpected. While we had this conversation, the game has ended in a draw, and Aronyak had a very good chances when there were rooks and the queen on the board, and then like more pieces on the board. But when Nihal started to trade more pieces, I think it was already going to the equal position. So that's very good start for both players. So Nihal is still leading the match, but Aronyak has had a chance in the second game to win. So this is a hope for him, right? That he's starting with a very very nice competition, not with like 2 losses in a row.
Exactly. And what happened to Aronyak in the last game has happened to me like a million times. I would have the better position. I would be up on time, and then Nihal would just trick me somehow. He would be the one having less than 10 seconds, and he would manage to trick me somehow. And I used to find it infuriating. It wouldn't just happen in one game, but it would happen in a series of games. And I remember feeling such rage about this happening. But when this started happening to stronger players like Vrishchuk, I started feeling better about myself.
It's really we know what you mean. Definitely, but the question was, d6 pawn was hanging there. This pawn could take the pawn on e7, but Nihal took some time there. It was the first time when Nihal took so much time here at this point. And what was the reason for it? Why he took so much time and then played c3? He could not take the pawn on e7?
So if white takes the pawn on e7, black queen takes on d1, king takes d1, and now there's potentially knight into f2 check. But this is complex, Katie, because at the outside it feels like you are winning an exchange, but white gets back one of the minor pieces, and the knight on h1 is trapped. So I'm really not sure how this plays out. If this plays out better for white or better for black. But Nihal was probably working this out and decided that it's not a good idea to enter these complications without knowing what's happening. And therefore, he decided to refrain from it. So I think he knew up to the first 5 moves. On the 6th move, he had a bit of a think, and he went towards this direction with c3. This leads to a equal position so far. The white bishop needs to develop, and with knight c4, he tries to do this with one tempo. If black takes knight into c4, white recaptures with bishop into c4, and your bishop develops in a straightforward way, spending less time to do the same. But it's a pretty equal position, and black is, I think, completely fine here.
All right. And Sri, did you mention his Aronyak's age? How old is he?
Well, we can for sure conclude that Aronyak is a junior. He's 18
Yeah.
years old,
Ooh,
and
okay.
he's rated 2494 at the most recent FIDE rating list in April. But he's on his way up, Katie. His graph is constantly rising. He's constantly improving with each list, and again, I'm pretty sure he'll be a grandmaster. Just a matter of time, sometime this year.
Yeah. Right. Shri, we do have the stream on YouTube as well as on Twitch, and of course we are inviting everyone to write us some questions or just support one of the players if they wish. And on YouTube we have this poll. Who do you think gonna win this match? And we invite everyone to vote for this in our YouTube chat. So, Sri, what's going on here? Black now has this queen on b6, is under attack. Is White going to castle next move, or he is not going to castle that any day soon and he's going to play like h4, h5 maybe? Oh, answer the
Katie,
question.
always looking to attack the king, yeah? Always.
Yeah.
Always. But yeah, here White is just a pawn up, and White wants to just complete his development. So he did castle, which was understandable. Black seems to be having a lot of activity at the moment, but he doesn't have anything to attack. He doesn't have any threats. So White probably goes rook e1 next move, and then tries to exchange the bishop on h6 maybe. He goes rook to d1. It's pretty much the same idea, you trade the rooks, you play queen e1, get the other rook to d1, develop all your pieces. Once you have developed all your pieces, the extra pawn will count. So chat, when you have a pawn up kind of situation in such an endgame, what's the most common mechanism to try and win the game? What is the most so again, Katie, by chat I mean chat.
I heard chat, okay? I heard chat. I will not answer, no worries. But I have my answer here. I want to say it, but no, I will wait to everyone in the chat to say that.
Yeah. Someone in the chat asking if Anshika Catalanwani is her actual surname. It is indeed, and it's one of the most amazing nicknames for chess players in general. So when you have an advantage, a material advantage, you try to exchange pieces first of all, and secondly, as Street Chronicles points out in the chat, you try and create a pass pawn. Creating a pass pawn is a very, very important mechanism to try and win the game in endgames in particular. And if you see the last few moves, White is trying to exchange, trade the heavy pieces, and Black is trying very hard to retain them, try and keep them in the game, so that it helps Black create more counter chances in the future. So this is what is happening between them right now. And with Bishop G4, Black tries to trade his bishop for White's knight. Again, reminds me of Anish's latest tweet where he says a double pawn is just bad for you. Don't hear anything else.
Double pawn is what?
His tweet was something like, double pawn is just bad for you.
Just like that. I have not reviewed yet any tweets this morning. I'm behind one day of the chess news is on the tweet. But Sri, what I really like about this position for Black, for White is obviously an extra pawn. I like extra pawn, why not? But for Black is that this pair of bishop very often compensates the pawn, and they can create a lot of problems for White. And for White, it will be obviously better to trade dark square bishops now and get this knight on d4 maybe to have very nice outpost over there. And now we have this position, and we can see the bar goes all the way up and gives White bigger advantage than it was before.
Absolutely, Katie. I think you summed it up perfectly. The knight on d4, unchallengeable on a dark square, from where it cannot be attacked by any of Black's pieces nor Black's pawns. So it is called an outpost because it's it cannot be taken out from there on d4, and it controls a lot of squares being in the center of the chessboard, and it also poses problems for the black bishop on g4. It covers the f5 and the e6 square. It doesn't allow it to move freely. The rook coming onto e7, attacking the f7 pawn. And now Nihal can even start playing h4, h5, which you suggested
I like
initially.
that.
Get the pawn all the way to h6, queen to f6, all of them on the dark squares,
I
where
like
black has
that.
no presence at all.
Yeah, black wants to activate this bishop, but so far g4 pawn is not under attack, and queen c5 seems to be some sort of blunder. Maybe rook c5, queen f6. He's going for queen f6. He wants to push this pawn next. And Sri, what happens after queen d5? Just f3.
Queen d5 is just, yeah, exactly, Katie. And
Yeah.
rook e7 and knight e6, it's basically game over. You go rook e7 with the next move.
Knight e6.
Yeah, rook e7, knight e6, the two-step way to win here. Rook e5 is also another way to win. Knight f5 can win the game, I think, on the spot. It wins a queen. Knight e6, queen into g6, and queen rook h5 is checkmate, the next two moves. So queen g7 is a threat, and Aronyak resigns. That was a pretty smooth win by Nihal. He moves up with a 2-point lead, 2.5 to 2.5 to half. And Aronyak's biggest strength is his solidity with the white pieces. He has a very solid opening repertoire. He plays the English opening, and he's very hard to beat with the black pieces in general. In the one white game that he had, he outplayed Nihal. He was a pawn up. He wasn't able to close it off. But this will be his biggest strength, and he will need these wins with the white pieces.
Okay. Wow, that's 2 points in advance. Sri, what do you think? How many points you can give your opponent and then still try to fight for a win? Like 4-5. What can be the advantage that if Nihal gets, then we can say that yeah, he's going to the right direction.
Well, it really depends on the perspective of the player themselves, Keti. For example, if you are AD the Beast, you would still have hopes and high spirit even if you are 10 points down. You would still be saying all positive things. But in general, a 2-point lead is a very substantial lead already because your opponent is constantly putting you under pressure. And even if you get a win, you're still behind on the scoreboard. So I think 2 points lead is already, it's something like a plus 1.5 advantage in a chess game. You know, if you try to convert the match into a chess game, then it's something like a pawn up or 2 pawns up already. There have been a few comebacks in the history of Speed Chess Championship, especially in the bullet portion. I remember there was a legendary comeback by Duda in one of the matches against Grishchuk. He closed off a 5-point lead. But these things are extremely rare. And going up early gives you the momentum. And also, as the match progresses, your opponent starts sensing your weaknesses and strengths, you know. So, for example, if your opening repertoire is bad as black and you're struggling in a particular opening, your opponent starts sensing it and keeps playing it. And against an opponent like Nihal, who's quite versatile, this is a dangerous situation to be in because he will sense your weakness and he can play all the different openings. He can start with knight f3, he can start with c4, he can start with d4, e4, all the respectable openings. And sometimes he even gives himself a handicap by starting with 1 b3.
b3 is not a respectable opening. But Shri, this this may be not the problem of the top players like Nihal, but including myself, and I know many players, when they have some advantage, they are trying to like relax. They just relax a little bit. And then when the things are changing and then opponent gets some advantage, you first equalize the score and then you're getting upset with that and then can go in the wrong way. So do you think Nihal has ever experienced something like this, or he's a rocket solid player?
I think it happens to everyone. Everyone is the same human being, and all our mechanisms are pretty much the same, whether you're Magnus or whether you're someone from the chat. I think the mechanisms are pretty similar, but having a strong chess playing strength, it really helps a lot because let's say your usual level for someone like Nihal is at 3100, 3155. So that's his that's his average, yeah, that's his mean. And his higher upper limit, maybe he can play up to 3350 when he really plays well. And when his level drops, he goes to something like 2950. There is a plus 200 and there is a minus 200.
Right.
So even when his level drops, he still has a higher rating than his opponent's average. And that's where your chess playing strength helps. Even when your level drops a bit, you still play at an extremely strong level. Whereas Aronyak's, let's say, from a purely statistical point of view, let's say his higher upper limit is like 3000. So there will be games when Aronyak plays his best and Nihal's level drops, and that's when Aronyak gets his chances. Now, this is from a purely statistical point of view. In general, I think Aronyak is a bit underrated. So he must be at least about 100, 150 points higher than what his rating shows. Something around 2974. But the point is, even when Nihal plays suboptimally, his level doesn't drop too much. And that is why the stronger players, they have less of these meltdowns, less of these tilts. It only happens when you're under pressure. So it can happen to the best of players. It happened to Nepo in the World Championship match against Magnus Carlsen. He was under pressure and his level started dropping. But to create that pressure, your opponent needs to play stronger than you at some point, which is why it doesn't happen as often to Magnus.
Yeah, it makes sense. Actually, it makes sense. I had this opportunity to witness the things at the World Championship, what you just mentioned about Nepal, and I kind of had a feeling like after the last game when he had no chance to fight for the title, the match ended before then it could end. He was quite relieved, and he was kind of happier than before the previous days, because it was like, okay, he just let it go because he was suffering very much with that. And it's very interesting also this kind of to study what players are feeling and how the things are working here. But Sri, what's going on in this game? Like, I saw 95 at the beginning, typical sacrifice, but then Nihal somehow put all these pawns on this 6th rank, and they are working. And now we can see that the evaluation bar gives advantage to black, even though we have still equal position. Why this is so good? Maybe not so good anymore after e4.
Yeah, no, but I think the e4 pawn is why it's so incredibly good, because it is a passed pawn, and we are not yet into the endgame.
Take it?
But yes, you take it, and then black takes potentially with the rook, let's say, bishop into e4, rook into e4, rook into e4, and queen c6.
Okay.
So you wanna try and pin that rook on the e4 point, and this gives white a lot of problems. But white has this move c5 to try and protect the rook. If not for this move, then white, I think, is in trouble, because how else do you defend the e4 rook?
Oh wow. So takes queen c6 and then c5 to defend this rook with the queen, and also look for some counterplay on the queen side. That's very nice.
Yes.
Now he doesn't see this with white. I think he sees now after bishop e4, because he just captured. Otherwise, you don't capture this pawn, right? You just move bishop away.
Yes, but that's not desirable, because you move the bishop away, and then the black pawn keeps advancing and keeps bullying you. So it's not an attractive possibility, and also the bishop kind of goes into oblivion if you move away the bishop. So you had to do this. You had to take rook into e4, and queen c6, c5 is a very important move, because queen c6, if you defend with the queen, with queen e7, I think black just continues with rook d4, and rook e8, white can still take queen into e8.
Queen to e8 and then knight e8.
Ah, yes, knight e8, and it's a pin.
Yeah. So you're gonna have queen and the knight versus two rook. That's huge advantage. You can do that too.
Yes, that's a massive advantage. Meanwhile, there is going to be a diamond membership if Nihal plays b3 at any point in the match, and I'm sure Nihal is going to do that at some point.
think so?
just to annoy me, which he loves doing. So you're all set to get a diamond membership, chat. So stay tuned to the stream. Do hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and do stay through the stream so you have your chance of a diamond membership.
All right, c5 has been played and black responded with b5. So he allows this white pawn to be here, strong pawn. Is he going to play next move a5 or something to get
Yes, the c5 is a strong pawn, but you can't really do anything with white in this position if you can't move your rook. Yeah, so it's like you have this really strong arm, but it's tied. And if your arm is tied and you cannot move it, it doesn't matter how strong it is. So Nihal keeps it pinned, and he's preventing white from playing queen c4 check, which is why he played the pawn to b5. If he took the pawn on c5, then white would bail out with queen c4 check. So he stopped it, and now he regains the pawn. He wins that pawn by force, and now it's equal material, 4 pawns versus 4 pawns. Queen and rook against queen and rook. And
But Nihal has seconds. Look at this time, Sri. 14 seconds. It's 5 plus 1. It's not like he's going to get so much of the increment now. He has to play very fast. And queen and the rook still on the board. A bit tricky situation for Nihal.
Yes, but Katie, Nihal having less time is like I don't know. I don't know what to equate it to. It's like how it's brushing the teeth for me. You know, he has that every single game. He just goes into it. It happens. It happens so routinely.
If I have 7 seconds, I would panic and I would lose this time for panicking, not finding the moves, but he's playing just normally. I think he even plans to, and he's not going to lose this game for sure.
Yeah, but I think with Nihal, it kind of makes things exciting for him going into this zone. And now it's going to be a draw, Katie. It's going to be 2 versus 2.
Yeah.
And unless Nihal's internet goes bad or he has a lag, he's going to be able to draw this without any problem. The problem with going to this 3-second zone is if you do have a lag, then you're just going to lose on time. Sometimes you can lag for 2 seconds. And Nihal is playing
God! It was 1 second on the clock! And he played it, now he has 2 seconds. He has to pre-move. He has to pre-move king h6 maybe, but that's tricky.
Yes, but what if your opponent plays
a3
then?
Oh my god, this is so tricky. This is so tricky. And Sri, I remembered last time no, it was not him. It was not him who had the mouse problem. No.
It was Arjun.
It was Arjun, yeah. He had the mouse problem, not Nihal.
Yes, he had the mouse problem and he also had the lag problem.
Yeah.
In the Bullet Championship in I think more than one of his games. And to people, it looked like he was playing really slow, but trust me, Arjun doesn't play so slow. He's not your best bullet player. He's not like he's not as reputed as someone like Hikaru or Alireza or even Nihal, but he's incredibly fast. He's almost as good as Nihal in bullet. But he was lagging in that match, and that's again an handicap. It's like playing without one of your arms.
Your students are lucky to have this kind of comparison of the chess and the other things.
In the fight?
Definitely. So we have another draw, 3-1. So we had 2 draws. That's how Aronyak got this 1 point. He has not scored yet. Sri, at some point he needs to score a point to feel confident in the match.
Yes, absolutely. You need to win games, Katie. Without winning games, you can't win matches. A very obvious thing to say, but also sometimes you're just struggling to land that blow, and making draws, it doesn't help so much because your opponent is going to beat you in one of the games, no matter how strong you are. So you really need to get those wins going. And so far, Aronyak hasn't been able to do that. Meanwhile, Nihal is testing Aronyak with different opening moves. He started off with 1 e4 in the previous game, and now he goes into 1 d4. And the game started off with the Queen's Gambit accepted, which is Aronyak's primary defense and something he's very proficient at. So he has this really solid openings with black as well, and he has started off with a pretty equal position. But look at how much time Nihal has. He's close to 5 minutes. And one key aspect that changed in Nihal's play last year was how much he had sped up. We're talking about how he goes low on time in every game. But in 2021, when he was in some really good form and he was winning everything at that time, all the classical tournaments he was playing and the Speed Chess Championships, he had sped up quite a bit. And he won the junior speed chess by a massive margin. And he was also beating people up in the main speed chess championship. He defeated people like Rapport and Grishchuk. So he had sped up, but here it seems like he's still not regained that touch where he was in optimal form. He's still, slowed down a bit. He's missing a few moves here and there. And as players, you go through these phases, you just miss moves, you just miss obvious moves. And then you start questioning yourself, you start doubting yourself. And this doesn't help at all. It kind of compounds things for you. I think it particularly happens when you move to a certain age, because till before that, everything is flowing smoothly for you. You're winning everything. You're not thinking too much about things. You're just happy to play chess. You're just happy to have fun. Things flow for you. And then you reach a point where your brain becomes a bit more mature. You start thinking about other things.
True.
And that also gives rise to emotions like self-doubt, anxiety, and all other unhelpful things, which again takes a few years to learn to deal with. And then you move into the fabulous 20s, where you have the perfect mix of experience and
Harmless is
still a bit of
30s
youth
free.
left.
Harmless is 30s, not 20s.
I still think of you as someone in the 20s, Katie.
I am still in late 20s tree, but
Exactly.
just preparing myself for the period of when it comes.
You know,
but I agree
Katie,
with
when
this, Sri.
someone reaches age 29, it just freezes forever.
True.
Yeah, you just stay 29.
Yeah, forever 29. The thing is that you also have more things to spend your time with. And that's for me it was when I was at this age together with Chad, it was also English lessons. For instance, I wanted to
And
learn
arbiters.
English, to speak, to travel. So yeah, obviously this is the best age for them, and quite challenging age for these juniors, and they can still show their best as they are really fast, and they are learning things just in seconds, and this is really amazing thing. Shri, what's going on in this game? Like, I see the pawn structure is very similar, just all the pawns are at the same files, and we do have
It's similar, but is it the same? Is there a bit of difference, Katie? There's a small difference in the white pawn structure in the center and the black pawn structure. Yes, there is the pawns on f3 and e4 for white, and this just gives you a little bit more center control. And it threatened to keep the black's light square bishop out of the game. So
Yeah.
black retaliated with bishop c4, but now he's caught in this annoying pin. And white will probably increase the pressure with knight c2 and knight e3. Black looks to try and support the c4 bishop with knight to d6. But white just goes knight c2, knight e3 and increases the pressure. And there is also the pressure on the g7 point with the queen on c3 and the bishop on d4. So that also increases problems for black.
True. I was thinking that 98 he also played for move like bishop f6 at some point. For instance, like if you play knight c2, black can play knight queen to c7, so this queen will be guarded, and then you treat to take this bishop over here, and then after some trades you can also trade your dark square bishop. So my suggestion here can be like queen c7 to play.
Yeah, queen c7 is
f6. All right,
one
he wants to play knight d6, like after knight e3, knight d6,
and also e5.
e5. Oh,
Yeah, two people can play that game. Yeah, trapping the bishop, moving it far.
Ooh.
And after e5, the white bishop, the d4 bishop also doesn't have a good place, but I can play e5 myself as white and destroy your pawn structure.
Okay, this is
So
smart
this is actually
actually.
simple.
To take, if you trade the queens, the pawn will be here. Knight e3 attacks this pawn. You can't push this pawn, and after knight e6 you can play bishop c5. So for this reason he had to play by the pawn, and after knight e3 this move is not loved by the engine. What can be the reason of that?
e5, 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 e5.
Okay.
Knight d6, bishop c5, and now what is the move, Keti? Is there a move here?
Oh,
Can I go knight b5?
Yeah.
Queen into c4, knight into a3, yes.
Knight to a3. Okay, so he
prevents it with
a4.
a4.
Queen c6.
But now queen c6, attacking the a4 pawn. If you move the a4 pawn to a5, then there's knight b5. And if you don't move it, black just comes in and takes it. So maybe he just gives it up and goes bishop c5. Or maybe he keeps things with queen c2.
Queen c2 is a possibility, but then yeah, it's but then you don't control this pawn. You lose the control over this, so knight can go somewhere and try to attack this pawn.
Yeah, it kind of balances out that way, which is why it's about equal zero the evaluation. You know, white is not able to achieve that advantage and show the domination, but on the other hand, black is also having enough counterplay and attacking the different white pawns. Yes, as you pointed out, queen to c2 and knight goes to c8, attacking the b4 pawn. But white can still keep things going, probably with the bishop c3, but it's risky. It can get worse for white because now the c4 pawn become a...
Knight b6, for instance, to hit this pawn. And the moment you push this pawn, you're gonna give up this square and knight will go around and get on b5. So it's very important how many time is still remaining. For now, we don't have the time on the screen. I hope I can fix that for the breaks, but our chat says that it's remaining 45 minutes for this portion, a little bit less than 45, I think half an hour still to go. And yeah, anything can happen in this time.
Yes, anything can happen, and Aronyak is showing that he's not going to be a pushover in this match. He's going to stay there and compete. So far, it hasn't been easy to beat him in the games. Yes, Nihal had a pretty comfortable game win in the first game, but I think that Aronyak was probably a bit nervous. And now he's getting into his flow. And the third game, he was fighting, he was competing. He had a pretty decent position out of the opening. And with the white games, he's been able to apply a little bit of pressure. Nihal has neutralized it so far. But I think Aronyak is one win away from getting back into the match. One win away. He has a 1 point difference, and that will be the start of his momentum, his flow. And getting that flow, getting that momentum is very important in such matches again, because there is very little recovery time for the opponent. So one win can turn into multiple wins.
True. This game is also very much like the previous one, like more calm, like equal position. They're both trying to expose some weaknesses, but they're too solid. Both of them are too solid and making any mistakes. I predict this game gonna end peacefully as the previous one.
I completely agree with you there, Keti. Meanwhile, there's a super chat from Darshan Singhvi. Keti, please do come to Chennai and vlog your experience. Are you coming to the Olympiad, Keti? Are you?
I hope so. I've not planned it yet officially, but I think so. I really want to do so. And yeah, obviously, for me, it is besides chess is a country that I can discover so many different things. And if I come for Olympiad, for sure it's gonna be some 1 week, at least 1 week before, to experience all these things. So yeah, I hope so.
Amazing,
I hope so.
amazing.
Finger cross for me.
And how's the general mood out there where you're staying with the Olympiad being in Chennai? I know that amongst the Indians there is a lot of excitement. There's a lot of they're looking forward to it very eagerly. There's a lot of eagerness. How are things outside of India?
What exactly you mean, Tree? Oh.
Wait. Wait. I think Aronyak is hitting
Oh,
back.
wait, what's going on at b3? It's white to move. That's strange.
Yes, it's white to move, but you can't prevent this threat. The a4 pawn is attacked, and if you yes, he's lost the pawn, and there's the a pawn which is an outside passer now. So h4 h6, yes, just maintain it this way, and you do have to watch out for tricks after h5. Some sacrifice on knight into f4. He prevents it with knight d5, and now it's time to start pushing the a pawn, Katie.
It's time for that. I wanted to say you cannot do knight f4 because you can take in bishop f8 just like that after
Yes,
g5.
now knight d5, very strong move. A very strong and important move, and now black is very much in time to prevent the h pawn from queening. When the pawn goes to h7, just prevent it with bishop to g7, and this a4 pawn is going to be impossible for white to stop. Now knight e7, just collect the g.
F5.
Yeah, king b4 is even smoother.
Oh wow. Things
The king
are
just
changing
Nihal
so
is trying to
fast.
catch all the pawns. King c6, king d7. It's not going to be so straightforward, Katie. Bishop f8. Oh no, bishop f8 doesn't work. The headstone pawn queens. So knight e3, knight d5.
Bishop f8,
Wow.
take me, capture me, I'm free. No, this is so bad for white.
Now it's
Don't
over.
do that. Second pawn, f pawn. Knight f6. The
Knight
bishop
f6.
just defends this knight, and the f pawn is going forward. Yeah. Look at this knight and bishop tree. It's just locked there. You can't get to the bishop. You cannot take the knight. What just happened? That was a horrible blunder. And that's so funny, Sri. I just mentioned that they are not going to blunder, actually. And that game, actually, huge blunder happened from
Yes, it wasn't quite a straightforward blender, Katie. I think Nihal kind of over pushed. He started creating these weaknesses in his position, and he paid for it. The pawns were not ideally placed. The pawns were not especially when you have that pawn on e5 in the end games. It can tend to be a weakness, your advanced pawn. So that's what happened in that game. And Aronyak, as I keep repeating, he's not your 28-14 guy. He's already moved to 28-42. And as I mentioned, you just needed that one win, and Aronyak has struck with the black pieces. So I think he's back.
Wow. Sri, why do we have this aborted game now? Is that a break, or they just...
I think they're just giving you time to fix things. Okay. I think the players are just being nice.
He saw that
Yeah.
we were first for a second. All right. Then if they have break, you guys, yeah, cameras time to time gonna stuck for some reason. Yeah, that's gonna happen. I'm gonna try to fix it. But yeah, I apologize for that. It can happen again. It can happen again. So small break. We have 3 to 4 minutes break. I'm gonna go now, Shri, to work a little bit to fix the rest of the things like time.
But I'm going to be here.
Yes.
So
You know what? We can take a very short break.
Yeah,
we have,
sure,
we have
sure.
something to show still for our viewers. Guys, don't go anywhere because we're coming back after a very short break, and the things are so exciting here. 3 points for Nihal, 2 points for Aronyak, and anything can happen here. And just make sure that you are here to make some noise and to support the
and
players.
paying your membership.
Yes, and to support Sri as well. All right, guys, going for the short break, very short break, and coming back just before the start of the next game.
If Height does not win this is such a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Oh, but he could even lose this. 98!
No, that's too much.
David, I don't know what to say.
I need a moment to recover from that.
This couldn't be right. Oh, whoa!
Well, welcome back everyone. We are at a Speed Junior Chess Championships and here we have Sri and myself. So Sri, things are so exciting here. Nothing is yet decided how the thing's gonna go. So any predictions? Do you think this portion 5+1 will be the portion where one of the side gonna take advantage, or maybe we have to expect something in the next portion?
It looks pretty even, Katie. I would say in general, against anyone in the world, the lesser the time becomes, the more of an advantage that Nihal has. But it's tricky with the younger generation, because they're unknown quantity. You don't know what to expect from them. For example, someone like Grisham, you know what his strengths and weaknesses are. You have seen this for years. But with Aronyak, he's literally not unknown to everyone. And he's constantly growing and evolving. So that's a challenge that juniors face even from other juniors, and it's not the same. So Nihal, a massive favorite in this matchup, but Aronyak is pretty much fighting out there. It's 3-2 in favor of Nihal at the moment in the 5+1 portion. But I think Aronyak is riding the momentum. He turned things around with a win with the black pieces in the previous game. Nihal must have been very annoyed at it. I think it was a bit of an advantage for Nihal that he had a break right after that loss, because it gives you that chance to recover, And when you don't have that recovery time, that's what puts you on a tilt. You become very emotional. You want to get back at your opponent instantly, but that messes up with your mind, and you're no longer thinking rationally. You start behaving as if you're drunk. That's what puts you in a tilt.
Wow, they definitely are not drunk. They are not allowed to drink, I think, and they don't want to drink and then play at this point of their lives, for sure. We can see now the camera of the players, and we have the close-up cameras of Nihal and also Aronyak, and it's good to see their emotions too. I'm sure there will be some emotions at some point. They're gonna start to show more emotions, but for now it's still like they are warming up.
Yes, as the match progresses, I'm sure the players will understand each other better and they will evolve their strategies based on that. But yes, for the moment, they're still, circling around each other, trying to find weaknesses to poke into. So it's a bit like, oh wait, Katie, what's happening? What's happening here? What was that move? Queen B8. Did you spot anything there?
No.
Did White have a? I think Nihal blended and Aronyak didn't spot it after Queen B8.
That's Queen. Oh no, F2 pawn with a check, and then Queen G2 and 93. Oh my God, that was a real game.
How did he miss that?
Sure,
Wow.
I'm sure that was a real game, because look at their faces. Nothing changed after that huge blunder.
Now you see some reaction from Aronyak,
Really?
raising his eyebrows. And Nihal was really angry after that loss. You can see him, the last game he spent only 10 seconds. And again, when you get into the start of tilt, that's what happens. You try to play without thinking, you start playing really fast. Almost like you're trying to bully your opponent. This prevents you from overthinking, which is a problem a lot of people have.
Yeah.
But it can also be the opposite, You think too much, you spend too much time. It also works the opposite way, and you end up playing bad moves as a result of your speed. So it works in both the ways. But Nihal will be very happy with that win, and he again extends his lead to 2-point gap. And that's the advantage of going into an early lead, Katie. You have that cushion. You lose one game, you're still in the lead, and it allows you to have that cushion without having pressure.
Yeah, that's right. It's so funny, like they're showing their emotions. You just mentioned, no hero raises eyebrows, and when I lose the game, I'm like screaming and showing the angriness, and yeah, he showed some emotions. He just rose his eyebrows. That's that's so funny. Do you think they have some pressure too, as they are like on cameras now, or when they are playing chess, they just don't think about this? That thousands of people now watching live, and how they're controlling their reactions and their face impressions.
I think by now they're kind of used to it because every online tournament requires you to have not one camera but two cameras, any official tournament. So you're used to kind of constantly being in camera. And also, things have become in such a way that there is a camera pointing at you pretty much all the time. There are clips being made, and there are photos being taken. Even in real life, you walk into a tournament hall and you kind of expect a camera from someone, some YouTuber, some Twitch person.
You talk about Dina or or VD?
I mean, the chat knows who I'm talking about,
Oh
or
no.
who I'm talking about.
Who are you talking about? There are actually a lot of people. A lot of
I'll,
people.
I'll, I'll leave it for chat to guess. Oh. Meanwhile, Nihal on full attack. Knight g5, f into g5, knight into g5. He sacrificed an exchange. But how do you fight against this, Katie? How do you fight against a direct attack against your king?
I'm really shocked now because rook was gone on a1. It was a free rook, and I could not see anything coming. And now I see knight g5. If black takes this knight on g5, then another knight comes here, and bishop is under attack, and the h7 pawn is under attack. So what is going on? If you save your bishop, you allow white to capture h7 pawn with a check. But you know what?
Yeah, I think Aronyak made a big mistake. F6, playing F6, he had to. It really worsens things for him because now the E6 bishop is also being attacked simultaneously. If white had played knight g5 in the previous move with the black pawn on f7, he only had one pawn to defend, the h7 point.
True.
But now the e6 bishop and the white knight sits on e6 very uncomfortably. It's a very strong place for the knight.
But how about
Directly
bishop
looking.
h5, bishop f5 here to give up this pawn?
You can do that, but queen heads on check, the king moves, and here you have to find one of the wins. Yeah, bishop d3. I'm thinking is one of the
Bishop d3
moves.
to take here and then take here with a check, but there's d5 to avoid this happening.
Yes, there's a d5 to avoid this. I guess it's not totally straightforward for white here, but
Can be
simple way is
something.
knight into f7, king into f7, bishop h6, rook g8, and now rook d3.
Rook d3.
Yes, rook
Okay.
d3 directly is also pretty strong. But yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if you start with rook d3 or but you know that white is winning. You can take the bishop on f7, king into f7, pin the g7 bishop with bishop h6, rook g8, and now rook d3, and black is losing something at least.
Okay. Oh
And
wow.
I get your rook to g8, so the black king cannot run with the king e8.
He's going for it. Bishop h6 on the board. He saw all this line. Now bishop g7 is hanging. You cannot guard this bishop the other way. You can try to run away with the king, but with this bishop you can't go far. And look at this knight on a5 being outside of the play, and also rook, which is extra here, is not really playing too much. But on the king side tree, I can see that black has only one king and pinned bishop against queen, bishop, and the rook. So white is simply winning.
Yes, Katie. White is simply winning, and with this, Nihal will increase his lead to a 3-point advantage. So Nihal kind of started slow, but now he's really picking up his pace. I think after the break, he decided I'm just going to go for it. I'm just going to trust my instinct. Just play without thinking too much. And since then, he has increased his speed and also his playing level seems to gone up a few notches.
Yeah, he has 3 minutes for this position, Sri, and Black has to give up the queen. That's not good, I think, for sure. White can take this queen here and then starts to play something like bishop d3. He can go bishop d3 right away, just to expose g6 weakness here. It's just too much weaknesses for Black, and knight on a5 is not guarded. Pawn on d5 is hanging. It's just not very good position for Black.
Yeah, White can do whatever he wants. It's like having access to an Amazon account where you can buy anything you like. You can just keep adding. So White is like, oh, I want this a5 knight, so I'm going to take the d5 pawn first. So d5 pawn add to cart, then the a5 knight add to cart, and the g7 bishop add to cart. It's White has free X.
What you usually do, right?
Yeah, but at the end you can add the coupon code White is winning, and
Yeah.
you don't have to do anything.
Yeah. Okay, Nihal is absolute favorite in this match, and I can see also the results of our poll. He has 95% against 4% for the Aronyak. I don't know where this 1% went, Shri, because that's a bit weird. But yeah, absolutely, this 1 point doesn't really matter here. Most of the people in the chat thinks that Nihal is the favorite, and if he wins this game, it's gonna be 4 points advantage. And as we can see now, the time before the end of the this portion is 26 minutes. How many games they can play in this 26 minutes, Sri?
In 26 minutes in this time control, I think you get like about 2 games, because 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5, it's 20. And with the 1 second increment, you have this few games. But if the game starts before the end of the timer, then that game will also be counted. So maybe realistically 3 games are possible. Also, some games can end faster, doesn't go all the way. So I think we have 3 more games. So 5 2. So in total, 10 games.
Okay, bishop c4. Now White is winning this. Sri, maybe it's time to resign in here. You cannot really save this game, and maybe you can use the time for the other games. What do you think about this strategy? Or it's still something that it still bleeds, it's still online chess and something can happen. Should he now continue to play, or it's better to resign?
Yeah, it's tricky, Katie, because sometimes, obviously from a match strategy, it makes sense to resign at the earliest and try and give yourself some time to hit back. But sometimes, you're also giving yourself a bit of time for recovery and for things to calm down. So, for example, when you do something physically strenuous, like running at a high speed that you're not used to, you run out of breath, right? And similarly, when you have a bad game and you lose, it does cause some physiological effects, and it takes time for that effects to be reset for you to get back your strength. It doesn't happen like a switch. You turn it on and turn it off and you're back. So I think sometimes it also helps to try and prolong the game to give yourself some recovery time to come back into the game.
It's also not easy to resign, right? Who likes to resign? And unless you have the last chance, you're still trying to find that. We have now a new game here, and we do have the cost, but structure. This might be a bit peaceful here. So unless something crazy happens, usually games are like more drawish here. White goes for rook to e1. He's obviously going to push the pawn in the center with e4 with the help of f-pawn. Not very likely, but it can also go to e4 right away to activate more pieces in the center. And Black is on the other hand going to this with this knight to c4. Maybe he will try also to play bishop d6 next move. And now we see e4 straight away. So White has this isolated pawn on d4. I know many of our viewers don't like the isolated pawn, to play with isolated pawn, because they think it's a weakness. But do you think now it's okay to have this weakness, but because of the active rooks and the bishop on this diagonal and the knight potentially can also get active, White is still fine?
I think it's not great to have this isolated pawn here, Katie, because White doesn't have that kind of initiative that you would expect. And I think Aronyak is just trying to get a draw and trying to get back into the match. So this was what he was calculating. And now Bishop C7, Knight 8, maybe he'll try to repeat here. Aronyak, he's under pressure. And back in the times, he didn't have this tendency to be happy with the draw against someone higher rated.
Yeah.
And when you're under pressure, your default characteristics come out. Like you have some default characteristics and then you work hard and try to overcome it. It can be different things for different people. Like for some people, they get really angry and go on tilt and lose control pretty quickly. Some people tend to get affected by fear. They go into a shell. And when they work on these weaknesses, they become stronger. But even when you do that, and when you're under pressure, your rawest form comes out. Your default characteristics come out. So I think Aronyak is trying to do this. He's trying to catch a break, just one draw to break his losing momentum. And Nihal is aware of this. He's a veteran of so many of these speed chess matches and matches in general. So he's trying to deny Aronyak an easy draw, even if he has the black pieces. He's not going to give it away easily to him, some relief, and he's going to make full use of the momentum that he has. So this is, I think, one of the hardest aspects of the speed chess championship format. You don't have the recovery time, and once you're in a losing streak, it's like
you don't have
fighting
time,
against gravity.
actually, that's true. You don't have time for chess moves and for relaxing. You don't have. But it's so funny in this with these passive moves that Nihal played now, Knight C8 on the back rank. It was funny because he set up the trap. The pawn on A5 was not hanging because B6 would trap the bishop on A5, and even these moves are looking a little bit passive. They can still create a lot of threats, and now the queen is under attack. The queen should find a proper way to square to go, because F2 pawn, this queen is sort of stuck between these pawns. Also B2 pawn can be issue. For instance, like if queen goes back on F3, looks like a normal move. After queen D2, you're gonna struggle a bit with these pawns on D4 and B2. So for this reason, he went back to C2 to guard these pawns on the second rank, and left this pawn on D4 without any attention. So expect here some like knight move or G6. I like this move very much, to attack D4 pawn right away by the bishop. And then
Yes.
knight F5 as well. I wanted to play knight F5 before, but then I saw that the queen is hanging, so this G6 pawn also supports the knight to get on F5 square.
Yeah, very strong move. Yeah, empowering your pieces, trying to bring more pieces out. And he doesn't worry about the A4 pawn being captured, because that kind of puts the bishop in an unfortunate situation on the corner, not really controlling anything. Aronyak under incredible pressure, I would say.
Right, G6.
And did you
on
look at the
board.
difference in the way Nihal is playing Keti after the break? He was, he was playing slow and circumspect, kind of doubting himself in the first 5 games. But right after the break, he's come back and started hitting right away. He's playing fast and he's playing strong.
True. That's a little bit of strategy sleepy, a little bit sleepy. Oh no, I hope he's not relaxing with this advantage that he has, because he still needs to be focused. His opponent is not the guy you want to joke with. But sure, this is so good to have the opportunity to see how players are looking, how they're feeling, what they are doing. We can judge their reactions, and we can see actually how what's going on in their rooms. And for sure, they are alone. Both players, they have to be alone. Shri, I have a bit of concerns about Nihal's internet. If he's traveling, he's probably in the hotel, and we know that hotel internet is not the best internet you would like to play chess tournament with.
Yes, but I think I wouldn't really be worried about Nihal's internet. I checked his ping; it was just 57 milliseconds. So it looks like he has done some prophylaxis there with the internet. Oh, Katie, look at that, Queen C1, and the bar has
28,
gone.
94 or 94 right away. Oh, what's going on? Knight 94, that's the move I suggested. It's not likable, but looks pretty to my eyes. You want to play knight f6?
Not
You
all
want to
things
play
that look pretty are good, Katie. 94 is one such example.
uh,
And what should have white played there? I think he should have just played d5 and tried to save the pawn. Yeah, that was the point.
d5.
You didn't need to give up that pawn on d4. You don't.
Yeah.
You don't have to give up things for free when you can make your opponent work for it.
True. Shri, the queen is hanging, knight is hanging, and there's also extra knight f3 check here. So, for instance, like queen e1 is not working. It loses a queen right away. I'm really struggling to find a move here. Queen d3 has been played. How about knight here and... Ooh, knight e1?
Bishop d1. Bishop d1. I don't know. I don't know if you... Oh my god.
What? Oh, it's my fault, Shri. It's my fault. I suggested this.
Are you on a call with Nihal, Keti?
I
No, I don't know
left the
if
Zoom call.
I don't
I
know
left
if you
the Zoom
feel
call.
bad about missing it or if you feel good that Nihal did the same blunder.
Wow. Look at him now, what he's doing. He looked on the side. He was thinking of the previous game. Sure, that's what we do usually. He had no second to realize what happened. He looked on the side and he was just analyzing what just happened in the other game. What was that?
So the match is still alive. It's 5-3. The 2-point lead continuing. Again, this is the wait. Does black have a move here? Chat. What's the move for black here? Okay, Aronyak doesn't spot it himself. Did
What
you say
was
it,
that?
Katie?
No. I was still thinking about the previous game. Sri, you know what? I'm gonna put this back and then I'll refresh it. So in this position, you are asking here, right?
Yeah, actually, it's not so easy. Because it's not so easy for black unless you know that it's happening. No,
say it's
you
not
just
easy.
take the knight on d4, queen into d4, and bishop e6.
Here, and bishop e6, and this is a trap. You said? What's the trap about?
It's the problem for white. The bishop on b5. It looks super awkward, and
Yeah.
black threatens knight to d5. This discovered attack.
Oh,
So you
that's
have two
too
problems:
deep.
c4 and c3.
Oh, that's too deep, to be honest, Sri. This is too deep and good to remember it. Like, if you move your queen away out of this diagonal, then you're gonna drop the pawn after a6. The bishop is hanging, and if you keep this bishop and queen here, then wow, knight d5. You get this knight, double pawns. Wow, that's nice one.
Yeah, it was too deep. I think even for the
It's too deep,
players, but would have been incredibly strong if Aronyak took his chance. He kind of had to take that chance, I think, because now Nihal again has a pretty comfortable position, and he has to use his momentum. When you win one game, you have to try and follow it up with another win. If you don't do that, it gets difficult for you in the match.
Yeah.
Essentially, you need to win few games in a row.
Wow. Yeah, there was something that you can use it in a classical chess, but in online chess.
Like when you win one game, your opponent kind of reacts to it. The next game, he either tries to play really fast, really angry, and tries to bully you. And if you can score another win in that circumstance, that's when you drive your opponent to the start of a tilt. So you need that one win, and then you need to get that second win in a row. And the second win is a very important point, I think, to start putting pressure on your opponent.
True. The dark square bishops are off the board. Black's knight is going on the way to d4. That's very good square for the knight, although it's not like this knight gonna be here forever. But yeah, you can try to keep it with a5 here. Do you think he will just ignore here with white pieces this knight coming here? Or, oh no, he played knight to e2. In this kind of positions, there are very often this knight h5 or knight f5 sacrifices, and then queen can get on the king side, but the knight on e6 just stops all this happening, and white just pushed f4. Perhaps he wants to play f5 and next to bring more pieces on the king side. And I would not be surprised if I see here something like knight h5 sacrifice.
Yeah, totally. I think first move your king out of the way, king h1 or king h2, then go f5, and then your knight h5, queen g5 stuff comes at Keti. I'm sure you will be at home here in this position with white attacking the black king.
Yeah, queen b6. I don't. Oh, is he going to support knight to d4 anyway? Like after queen b6, you guard everything on this diagonal, like f5, knight d4, and you take this. You might sacrifice this pawn at some point, but to have some counterplay with a4.
Yeah, black has to do that. Black has to go knight d4. It's the only way possible. I think what Nihal is thinking is whether he has to spend mano as preparation, king h1, king h2, and try to go for queen. Ideally, you want to follow up f5 with queen g5 directly, and he doesn't have time to do this. He needs that one extra preparatory move. Like for example, something like rook e d1 here followed by f5 would be devastating for black if he can't do knight d4. But as you said, black can just go a4 and combine knight d4. So he's just in time. Yeah, rook e d1, I expect a4
We have it,
now.
a4, we have it, and after a5, we might see knight coming on d4. Rather than to go back and be just very passive this knight, you can always sacrifice it for more counterplay. So queen b2 check first, and king will go back on g8 for sure. Why this check has been played? He wants then... okay.
Just to support this b3 pawn, which is causing a lot of problems for Nihal. It's a weakness. So he tried to protect it with queen b2, rook d3, but now his kingside attack has lost its momentum. Yeah.
Rook on e1 is hanging. Watch out. Okay, rook e1 was the move.
Now
That's so
f5.
interesting.
Now f5 is strong. Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think about this queen a5? Like, is it good to allow the opponent to have open file?
No, I think it just didn't make any useful thing for black at all. And now f5, knight g5, knight f4 is an incredibly strong move. Knight and the e6 square. And we have seen
H4
something
is a
similar
threat.
happen in the previous game. Yeah, black played the pawn to f6. The e6 was a weakness,
Yeah.
and Nihal took advantage of this. Something similar is happening in this game too.
Yeah, I don't see here a move like bishop d7 is the move that stops, but it doesn't stop knight e5, d5 then. But like for instance, if you move your queen away or king away, after h4, knight e6 is still a fork. So you're gonna get at least the exchange here. So yeah, black is a bit struggling here. He has to play this move. Maybe something like e5 too.
Yeah, he goes
He's
for
going
it.
That's the worst
One way to
move.
prevent your... Sorry.
Sorry, that's the worst move he could play.
No, I think it was a natural move for a human being. You can't measure things with stockfish. If you did, even Magnus Carlsen would look like a terrible chess player. It was a natural move, but now I think white changes target to the f6 pawn. So knight d5 and rook f1, something like this should be devastating. Knight d5, if you take bishop into d5, then white just takes e into d5, and the e6 pawn becomes invulnerable.
Beautiful chain. Wow. 95 is
And
very
also
strong.
there are ideas like rook f1 here, Keti, with knight h5 check incoming. So it's again that situation where you can start adding things to card, saying I'm winning.
Right. So we have knight d5 on the board. Queen is under attack. You don't want to take this knight on d5, but e7 pawn now is extremely strong.
Knight f6 and rook into d6.
Oof. Nice, nice, nice. Rook d6, rook f1, both possibilities here. I think rook d6, you just...
Yeah, because queen in d7, there's a rook into c6. Yeah, that's the difference.
Okay, I was thinking about queen e7 to guard this and attack, but you just dropped the bishop here because this is pinned.
Also, there's rook a7 here.
He played, but rook a7, look at this move. Rook a7, you sacrifice a rook, get another rook, and then the bishop here, or the knight here.
Bishop or the knight?
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yes, and he has a lot of time. He's not struggling on the clock. He can just choose now the best move.
Yeah, he's up by 2 pawns, and black cannot play bishop into e4 because knight into e4, rook into e4, there's queen d5 check.
Okay,
So he
one.
has to drop his bishop back, and now knight h5 or knight f5. Yeah.
Yeah, just like this. Although after knight h5 there is a check, and then queen e5 to trade the queens. This rook check can get this bishop here, but knight h5 on the other hand is hanging, so some little calculation here is required from white side.
Yes, it certainly makes more sense to try and finish this off in the middle game rather than allow a queen trade and go into the end game. He just goes rook d8, trades the rooks off, and then the e pawn and the knight, I think, will combine to make life hell for the black king.
Yeah.
E5 now. No, e5 you want to be careful, yeah. Not
The check.
allow some counterplay in the diagonal, yeah.
But this bishop is so bad.
No, queen, something like queen b7 maybe.
But I love the move king h2. Like you put this king here, there's no check. It's safer here. h5 threatens than h4 to expose this knight here. Wow. This is nicely played. h4?
Queen e5. Queen e5 check is the point if bishop into e4. And otherwise white just goes with the knight to f4, threatening queen g6 and knight e6.
True. Queen here, bishop here. They black wants to take this with a queen and then attack this pawn over here. That's very smart, and you can never push this because it will be a checkmate. So we have one check here.
King moves. You know, white can still lose here if he plays something like queen d5, trying to trade the queens.
Oh, that's a nice one for chat, not for me.
I don't know if Chad will have enough time to find it, but if white plays queen d5, what do you do, Chad?
Yes.
Video becomes so good at allowing the chat to guess the move.
Yeah, Nihal is also not playing, guys, so it's your call to think of that move. Instead of queen d5, he maneuver a little bit the knight. He got the knight on d5. I like this move so much. He gave up the pawn on b3, and now we have this queen.
Yes, you don't need that b3 pawn. And when you have the queen on e5, it prevents all the checks from the diagonal. So
true.
Queen is best there, and he's created himself a passed pawn. So d6, queen e7 check. Yeah, queen e7 check first. d6, d7, and white will be the first to queen.
Yeah, and also this h4 pawn that he just captured without check. It's not because he's greedy, but he wants to make sure there will be no checks on g3 e1 square. So he needed to get that pawn out off the board. Oh, both sides are queening now. Who's the first? Queen e7. Queen f6. Wow.
What's his plan? And now he's just 2 pawns up and the e pawn queens, yeah, e6 and e7. Queen f7 check, covering the c7 square. So black has 2 checks on f4 and c7. He's covered it both. I thought he would go e6 now, but if he goes queen to f6. He should be careful about repeating stuff here, yeah, giving all these checks.
Yeah.
Centralizes the queen.
Oh, king g3.
Oh, he starts bringing his king.
He wants to trade the queens.
It's very unconvincing. Nihal's technique in the queen end game, you know, bringing his king out was, I think, totally not necessary. He just had to control this diagonal from h2 to b8 and push the e pawn. Oh, wait. That was repeated 2 times, and Keti, look, it's a draw now.
It's a draw! No way!
It's so close to being a draw. It's so close to being a draw. You keep giving checks. You don't take the pawn. You don't take, because then the e pawn starts pushing. You just keep giving checks, but the white king is trying to hide behind the white pawn, hide in front of the white pawn. He wants to go to e7. He wants to try and hide in front of the e pawn, but you can get mated.
Oh, the queen g2 was something that I could not expect now, because it was some.
Wow. Wow.
I don't
now
know
the pawn
what
goes
to
to
say.
e7.
It's so complicated. Queen
oh
f6.
my god. Oh my god. Black has lost this now.
Queen h. No.
Yeah, now he's lost it. King f7 and king g7 and it's game over. It's queen h6 mate or e8 queens with checkmate. Queen h6 is checkmate.
Oh Oh, nicely played, nicely played. But it was a risky one, Sri. That was so risky to walk all the way. I think Nihal was lucky because his opponent had not enough time to find the precise checks, and he risked big time. It was too much risk.
Yes, he did not have enough time to find it, but also I think it was Nihal also didn't have enough time to convert it accurately. That's why he started making those mistakes in the first place. They were both out of time. They both made mistakes, and I think expected result. And this will probably be the last game of the 5+1 segment.
This seems to be the last one, as you just mentioned. I just checked the clock, and 3 minutes before the end of this portion, 3+1. So they cannot really play more game unless there is like the blunder has happened in one of the games. Rook to d8 now, pinning the pawn on d5. You cannot take the knight on c6, but you can take the pawn, another isolated pawn game. But now we have more pieces. And it's a bit different position. Sri, are you the side of the isolated pawn, or you are the side of who likes to play against the isolated pawn?
I like the isolated pawn here in this particular situation because you are getting the counter play. You are getting the pawn to d4 pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So here I think black has enough counter play. What about you, Keti?
I also like isolated pawn most of the time when I have more pieces on the board, and this is also the case where I think black is just fine and can start to have a really active position. For instance, like knight e4, starting with that, he brought all the pieces in the center, well-developed pieces. Yeah, at some point he can start to push this aside, like 94. Then rook should get on the 6th rank to start some nice attack.
It's totally in your type of position, yeah. Just initiative attack against the white king.
Yeah.
And I saw how you're just going on with the flow there.
My
Just
ass was
rook
getting
to-
bigger and bigger. It's nice position. I like bishop b6 because in many variations, if knight gets on e4 safely without losing the queen, there is also something like knight f2 sacrifice and e3 pawn can be hanging. But this bishop on g5 just ruins all the plans. The pin on this diagonal. So next what black has to do is just unpin the knight from f6. Maybe
Yes, but
try to
also
go-
what would you do as white here? Right now you're kind of stuck, yeah. Like where do you move? Because you want the d4 square under your control, and if you go knight d4 directly, I don't think you have enough pieces to support it because there is also the rook on c1 hanging. With rook e1, black can play a6 and ask the question to the b5 knight, where are you going? If you go to c3, then black has options to play d4 himself. And
Yeah.
if you go to d4, then you have these problems which we mentioned.
trading, yeah. Okay, h6 has been played. Now bishop is off the board, b2 pawn is hanging, and still knight d4 can be quite challenging here for white, for the same reasons as we mentioned. Wow, this might
Yes,
be
but
problematic.
aren't you losing a pawn here if you play knight d4, knight into d4, and if knight into d4, then there's rook into c1. Yeah, this is
Ooh, rook
White's
c2.
problem.
I don't like this move. Bishop g6 is at least the move you can play.
Bishop g6, rook d2, and bishop a5. Yeah, this is the problem.
Yeah. Oof.
Bishop a5, and you lose a pawn after knight c3.
Yeah. Bishop a5. You have to play knight c3, and just a very bad move. You can just take that pawn, right? It's just safe to take that pawn. Take
Yeah,
here.
it seems safe to take that pawn because white captures a d5 pawn back.
Yeah.
But then you have some problems after that, something like some kind of knight to b4 related problems. Maybe you start with bishop c2, but the a2 pawn would then come under pressure. Bishop a5, knight c3, bishop into c3, b into c3, and now the question is what do we play there?
He
It
played
was
a6.
a6, forcing knight c3, and now d4.
d4. Wow. And he just got rid of this isolated pawn, and his pieces are better now. He has bishop advantage, per bishop advantage, and I'm not a big fan of this kind of structure here. the placement of the pieces, because there can be some sort of like unpleasant sacrifices. How about bishop takes here, hit this pawn on f2?
Yes, bishop takes and hit the pawn on f2 and c3. So you end up winning at least one pawn. Yeah. I think Nihal was trying to figure out if he has something more, but finally he kind of goes for just taking that one pawn. He was not able to find a way to win this pawn, so he goes b5. And after rook to d4, I think black should be able to win a pawn. Sorry?
I didn't see this was coming, because if you take this pawn, you blunder the rook in here, so actually white saved the pawn with this.
Yeah, it looks like white emerges with his pawn intact, which I didn't quite expect. But I think black had some ways to force and win the pawns, win one of the pawn in any case. I think he just missed a concrete way to make that happen. And not quite sure what Nihal was going for with bishop f5 and bishop e6. Not quite sure what he's going for. But yeah, now white has saved the pawn. It's not a temporary thing.
Oh wow, how he's going to expose these weaknesses there? That's a really interesting question. I was thinking to take and get this rook here, but then it's always d5 there. So he has to watch out for this move. The pawn can also get very, very strong if you take the rook on d4. So, and also not so easy to find a way how to double the rooks on c file, because that's obviously the plan that black would like to have now. Queen g5. Watch out, this little track.
Yeah, but that's pretty easy to spot and evade and move away from, yeah.
Yeah. h4. The queen cannot leave this diagonal.
Yeah, I guess just come back to f6, be happy that you provoked this weakness. White will continue with g3, having the nice and cozy g2 spot for the bishop. And they are kind of maintaining status quo at the moment. White is not doing much, black is not doing much, but 3 pawns down in the match, and Aronyak is not really able to exert pressure with the white pieces either. So Nihal is kind of running away with the match at the moment.
I think rook e8 here makes sense. Black is a bit passive move because you give up the open file, but then you can double the rooks here on this file, and now you can do it right away as this rook is hanging. So you have to leave this file. He goes.
Yes, but white had this threat with bishop d7, yeah, when he moved the rook, hitting the a6 pawns. He starts with rook b8. Maybe he plays the rook to, yeah, there he goes.
Now he goes.
You move Keti.
Very good, very good.
You have been predicting a lot of Nihal's moves in match so far, Keti.
Oh, he respects me very much. Oh yeah, I've told a lot of times this story when I met him for the first time. It was many years ago in France. We played this tournament, well-known tournament, Capella La Grande, and he was so young, so small back then. He was cutest kid in the playing venue, and he was very good in communication, and we had a lot of chat.
He's still small, although not as young anymore.
I've not seen here for many years. I saw last time, I think at World Blitzen Rapid, and he was a totally different person. He was already a grown up, a teenager, and it was a different vibes for sure.
Oh yeah, you saw him in Warsaw, yes.
Yeah. Rook d7 now. The queen is under attack, and the f7 pawn is also under attack. But there's rook e1 check. So many things still are hanging, and the evil bar says it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, I think it's about equal, and should end in a draw. Black defends the a6 pawn, f7 pawn under control. Right now he cannot move the f8 rook, but he will play something like rook c6, and white also cannot exert any additional pressure on any of the pawns. So looks set to go towards a draw, Keti.
True, yeah, going to. I don't believe here we're gonna see any kind of blunders because there are not many pieces. Unless you mouse slip your rook, hard to lose this game from any of the side.
Yeah, there are no knights around rook c7. The rook comes to c3, and you take the c4 pawn, and it would just be 4 pawns each.
Right. And Sri, have you already decided what will be your goal at the Olympiad in Chennai, or you're just still?
I'll be the coach of the Indian men's team,
Oh, nice! Wow,
the first
that's
team.
a big position. That's very nice.
And there we have it. It's 6.5, 3.5 at the end of the 5+1 portion.
All right. Sometimes players are having this kind of strategy, like how many points they want to have advantage. And do you think these both players are satisfied with this, or they could try more?
It's certainly quite satisfactory for Nihal. I think a 3-point lead is a massive lead, and I don't think he has any justification to be sad with that. Aronyak, on the other hand, would be under pressure. He would be disappointed. I think 3-point lead is a massive lead to catch up with, and with the time control getting shorter, it's not going to get any easier for him against Nihal, who is a monstrous blitz player. So I think a big advantage for Nihal at the moment, at the end of the 5+1 portion, 6.5, 3.5. But we'll see.
Right. Yes, and he's the favorite of the match indeed, Nihal Sarin, who we know from many other online events too, and not only the online events. And our Aronyak is a new player for myself and maybe many of our viewers too, but good to see him. And the stream was a bit tricky for me when I read his name. It's like Aronyak? He will get this question so much, like Aronian, Aronyak. I already feel like he will be like, oh God, stop asking me that question about my name.
Gosh, it's Aronyak. It's not Aronian.
Yes. I already feel bad for him because myself I'm getting so much questions about my last name, which I got it. I inherited it. No one really asked me for it, and it's just it's always tricky to deal with this. Sure. Before we take off now for our break, let's once again remind our viewers what's the format of the event. So time control. We have 3 different time control, and my favorite is 1+1. I can't lie. I love to see the bullet games. We have already done 5+1 portion. It was 19 minutes, and we have now upcoming 3+1 portion. This is the portion that most of the events on chess.com happening. Title Tuesday and Arena King, and I think they might be the most familiar to this portion. And then we're gonna have the fun portion of 1+1, and we do know how the points are counting. Nothing different, nothing special here at this point, and the winner is obviously the one who gets most of the points out of all these portions. Shri, which portion is the one that you like to see the most as a commentator, and which portion is the one that you would love to play as a chess player?
I think at my age, as a commentator, I love the 1+1.
That's a wrong start. Come on, start. Just repeat it. Should I repeat the question again?
No, I mean, when I was younger, I would have preferred the 1+1 the most and 5+1 the least. But now it's 5+1 the most and 1+1 the least. Times have changed, Keti.
All right.
But yeah, as a commentator, it's again, I think the opposite, 1+1, and I think 5+1 is kind of the slowest. But as a commentator, I like all 3 portions equally. I think there's something different in each of the portions.
True. Yeah, I agree with that. That's why we have all these portions to have some time to analyze some of the chess, and then to see a lot of fireworks and pieces just flying off the board. And 3, we have also the prizes here, and quite nice prizes. Round of 16, which we are right now, is that the winners will get $750, not a bad prize. And then we're gonna have the prices growing into the towards to the semifinals, quarterfinals, and then in the finals, which is very good for the junior players. Like very often just players are getting the question like, what's the biggest amount that you have ever won at the chess tournament? It's a very tricky question. And I think these players can be proud of just being participated here. They will get very nice prizes, Sri. And I think it's now time to take a very short break and come back before the start of the next portion, and also we can just talk a little bit more about Junior Speed Championship and also a huge event which is coming up in the summer in Chennai. It's gonna be hot summer in Chennai with all the means, with all the means, a lot of chess players, and all of them gonna travel to all the way to India. So looking forward to that. And you guys, please don't go anywhere because we're taking a very, very short break and coming back soon.
Height does not win this. This is such a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Oh, but he could even lose this. 98!
Oh, that's too much.
David, I don't know what to say.
I need a moment to recover from that.
This couldn't be right. Oh,
Whoa, Queen H1.
I'm out. I'm gonna see y'all tomorrow.
What a great move.
And then Rook takes G3 back. And the queen's trapped. That is one of the most amazing queen
my
traps I've
God.
seen. Wait, B5.
All right, we're back, and this is a Speed Chess Championship, Junior Chess Championship. And Sri, I saw that there was a B3 move at some point. I didn't know it was the first move, second move, third move, or whatever, but I just wanted to delay to take away the pain from you.
It's certainly not in the first move, Keti. Let's clarify it to the chat so that they don't get misguided. It was not on the first move.
Was not.
It was not on the first move. It was on the sixth move. Pretty unusual position to play this B3 move at.
We don't count it. Try next time, Nihal. We don't count it.
It doesn't work for your Diamond membership chat.
No.
It
All
only
right, all
counts for
right.
one B3.
How hard is now to adjust from 5-minute portion to a 3-minute portion? Do you think that we might see here more blunders or like flagging, or it's not a problem for them and they are used to do this?
Again, it depends on the kind of pressure your opponent is exerting. I think to put it simply, if Aronyak was playing against me, then I don't think he would blunder so much because he would be under less pressure. But against Nihal, he would be potentially under more pressure. And the match hasn't gone quite Aronyak's way so far. Because to be honest, even in a few of the games that he has won or created chances, it's mostly been Nihal who has been pushing for things forward, you know. Nihal is pushing, and then when he makes a blunder, then Aronyak gets into the game. But there hasn't been a game where Aronyak outplayed Nihal from the beginning to the end and overpowered him. So far Nihal has been a favorite and he has maintained it, and Aronyak has mostly been in the back foot defending things.
Yeah, that's true, but I really like the way how he's defending, and very often they have this equal position. And things are going just fine, like not too much blunders so far at this portion. But now we can see that black has a bit of edge. Is this because of the very good pieces, like for instance knight, and there's also open file for rook, rook e2 can be happen. The bishop h6, another idea, bishop h6, bishop e3, bishop f4, you can also do that. And sure, I feel sad for the bishop on c4. At the beginning, I thought it was a pawn on c4, and then I was like, oh, hold on, it's like a taller one? It's a bishop, it cannot be a pawn there.
Yes, Keti, all these troubles start when you play this b3 move, and now you have all these weaknesses on the dark
squares. You have to say
squares.
this, right, Sri? Like, it's an obvious thing.
You have to speak the truth, and you have to call a spade a spade. Look at all the weaknesses on the dark squares as a result of putting all the white pawns on the light squares. And now it looks like white is losing some material by force, yeah. And Nihal has his hand on his head. You reap what you sow. Rook a2. Yeah.
I like this move very much. Like rook is also... White couldn't handle this anymore and he just gave up the bishop for the knight. But now we have this opposite color of bishop and... I don't know.
Rook a4. Oh no, rook a4, there's bishop e5. So you go rook c2.
Rook c2.
And now rook b8 and bishop d3, rook... where does the rook go?
Bishop e3, rook e3, sorry.
It's rook c3. Sorry? And now the black pawns are faster, c4 and d3, and so Aronyak is outplaying Nihal in this game, Keti. The point I was making at the beginning that Aronyak has not done this so far. It looks like he's out at the 3-minute portion with the resolve to fight back, and so far in this game, his play has been just stronger than Nihal's.
Wow. I'm quite impressed how fast they're playing. Like I would spend all my time here to figure out how to play my next move, but they're playing so fast now. Black tries to trade the darks, the rooks, and this is not the best move here. Seems
Yeah,
like.
I think he didn't need to do this. I think he could have just defended the g6 pawn. I think it's a bit of a nervous move because now it gives white some potential counterplay. Take the pawn on g6 and maybe rook to. But yeah, it's tricky as white as well, yeah, because the d pawn starts moving fast if you take the pawn. So he refrains from taking the pawn, just goes d6, maybe rook e4 in the future. White's counterplay is this d pawn, and he's very clear on it, so he keeps advancing it. And next to d7, and then maybe if he can get the rook to e8, maybe he even has a chance to
I
make a
don't
draw
really
here.
see after what's the move after d7. King f7 probably he wants to play this move and stop.
Yeah, but
rook
also
e8.
after king f7, you can you attack the c4 pawn now. Rook c6.
Rook c6, rook e4 possibility. Wow, this gets a bit
Yeah.
risky.
He's lost his advantage again, yeah, Aronyak.
Yeah.
Bishop into c4. The problem is with d2, bishop c4 comes with a check, and then the bishop drops back to e2.
That's unfortunate for black then, because how you're going to save the pawn on a c4. And on the other hand, rook c8 is another threat that was on the board for black. Rook d8, rook c4 is possible now. Rook c4,
Yeah,
rook d7.
but then rook into d7, and he still has this trump card of the d pawn, yeah, which is not easy to stop. d2 and d1 coming incredibly fast. How do you stop this pawn even? Can you stop it, Katie? Is there any way
I'm
possible?
struggling now. Yeah, I'm struggling now. Not for sure.
Looks like we are heading into at best. Nihal can force a rook and bishop versus rook.
That's a very interesting question. Like g4 h5 can happen, but you can always save this pawn by g5. So far it's fine, but how black is also improving this position.
Yeah, white kind of sits with this construction. He protects the g3 pawn, and with the king and the rook, and black has only two pieces to exert pressure with. And now you see h5 is coming by force.
Wow.
He doesn't even need to. Yeah, h5 is coming by force. So you take it and you go into this rook and bishop versus rook. But this is incredibly tricky to defend with a few seconds on the clock, Kate.
That's true. Some people are struggling to defend when you have even more time on the clock because it's so tricky, so tricky. You still need to know some theoretical positions there. Wow, this is this can be dangerous territory. King f3, bishop e3, and rook h8 now can be a checkmate threat. Bishop e3 here, anyways.
Yeah, the king goes to
h5, rook g5, rook g6, 3. Rook g5, rook g6 was their move, so that's why he played rook to a5. He's waiting.
If I check king g2.
Oh, okay.
No, as white, I would have probably just given up the pawn, But this is good for Nihal, advancing the pawn. Now the pawn goes to g6. The black king is too far away. And Aronyak doesn't even get to play, get to talk. Oh, this is clever. This is clever.
Wow.
He doesn't suffer with the rook and bishop versus rook, and he found it with just 1 second remaining.
Wow.
What an amazing defense by Nihal.
Like many of the players would just panic there, and what he does is just giving up the rook and makes a draw. That's very nice. That's very nice indeed.
Yeah, I think that's brilliant calculation with a relatively short time. And Aronyak wouldn't be too happy with that, because he had such a nice position. He was so totally winning, and it just doesn't feel good when you don't win such games.
Not to win this kind of games, then you are getting really upset because your opponent is not missing this kind of chances, and you're missing. We had quite some games here from Aronyak that he missed. He had chances to win, so this can be a little bit more upsetting. for him indeed. But do you think this is because of the like less experience than your opponent?
Yeah, again, strength matters a lot. How quickly you see things in how many seconds. For example, you saw how quickly Nihal saw that opportunity to draw in the previous game, and someone a bit slower would probably not have found that. And all these things make the difference between scoring half point and the full point in such situations. So it boils down to these things, and there even a few milliseconds of speed can make a lot of difference. Speed is a very important. After all, it's a junior speed chess championship, Katie.
After all. True, true. So Shrid, we had seen this position earlier. It ended really badly for White because remember the f2 pawn was blundered. Now White will be a little bit more careful. He keeps the rook on f1 to guard f2 weakness. I really like your Black's position, and I'll tell why I like it more for Black, because knight on g4 creates some threat on the king side. Queen is also very active there, and Black has also the open file. Like Black can always start to double the rooks on a file and just annoy the Black. And now after queen to f6, Black is in fact threatening to win into pawn 3, because see, if you take this queen, I take with a pawn, it's a double pawn. We know that we don't like to have double pawns, but knight is hanging and the pawn is hanging. I'm surprised that White went for this. After f5, now knight is under attack. You have to go knight to c3 to guard this pawn, and I don't know, rook a3, that's what I thought, that the variation can end, but they are still keep it going. Rook
Yeah, with rook c1, White defends everything for the moment, and if Black could attack the c3 knight with one more piece, he would win the e2 pawn. But he just doesn't have pieces on the board, so he goes for this brilliant exchange sacrifice, Katie. I think it's lovely.
What?
Rook into e2, and now if rook f1, there's knight e3 check. But I think
King
Nihal might have
f3?
missed king f3.
What's going on here? This is looking so strange for me. Now the pawn is hanging. If Black collects too much of the pawns, it's gonna be fine, I suppose.
Actually, I don't think Nihal missed it. He just wanted to go for this position because his rook and knight are so active and White's rooks are so passive. These are the kind of moves you make when you have a 3-point advantage. You can just play confidently, because even if you lose, you don't really damage your chances much. And the Black Knight will now come on c5, protect everything. And if White loses the pawns on c4, then it's pretty much a draw. You cannot win with 3 pawns on the same side. So now just rook c2, and Black can never lose this.
Yeah, in the chat we have this comment that it's not even a compensation, but I think it's very good compensation. Black is not the one who risks here.
No, it's not even a competition.
Competition. Oh, I heard this. I thought it was a compensation. Okay, yeah, it's a very good decision from Nihal indeed, especially when he's leading the match with three points, and he knows how to just hold things. 46 minutes before the end of this segment. It's quite a lot of time. He needs some energy, and if there's some game that you can go easy, why not to go easy on it?
Yes, and also Nihal will be looking to carry his momentum into his next tournament, which starts tomorrow. It's a 7-round tournament in the beautiful Spanish island called Menorca. And Nihal will look to try and play as well as he can, because, Katie, for the qualification for the Indian team, what your rating is by May 1 is very important. And this will be Nihal's last chance to try and increase as much rating as he can.
Oh, really? And how much rating he wants to have to get in the team?
It's not entirely clear at the moment, but it's basically as much as he can get. And at the moment, the person ahead of him is Shashi Kiran at 26.51. So Nihal's live rating is something around 26.44. So I think he will try to look to get at least 8 points to
Shashi
improve
Kiran
his
is
chances.
playing in the tournament that I'm playing. So okay, I'll keep in my mind.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Look at what.
No, 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 no. No, Shri, this
You know,
is...
when you have a 3-point lead, you
This
can
is
do
unfair. He
anything
did
you
not
want.
even blank. Come on, Nihal, you cannot play these moves. We're gonna see it. What I have observed, Shri, is that b3 is a bit weird move to me because I really like to have the center, and with white pieces especially, you have this one tempo extra. And the things are not going the way you plan with white. And then out of the magic, you can still win the game. And then you say that b3 is a strong move. That's what I have observed so far.
No, I would never say that.
You never say that. Okay, but let's be honest. I like this position for white. I really like this position for white because the dark square bishops are off. I have this plan to play h4, h5 to expose the king side as it's weakened now, and I'm not a big fan of this bishop. And what has...
Do we have to be honest though?
We don't need to be honest. Okay.
Let's not be honest.
Let's not be honest. Yes. Queen g5. That's interesting threat. Interesting move. It doesn't have a threat yet, but it is out of this pin. Takes, and d5. I think white can win a pawn here, Shri, or not. Takes.
How
Oh my
exactly
god,
do we
Shri's completely speechless. Come on. Or he disconnected.
But how exactly do you win a pawn, Keti?
Oh no. You're so excited for this match, and after this, like, your voice goes low now.
Yeah, I'm rooting for the underdog. I'm rooting for black there.
Oh, Shri's now preparing some tweet on his head, like if how the thing's gonna go. He gonna tweet about this game for sure.
No, I don't think I'll acknowledge the existence of this game.
No comment. All right, c6 pawn versus c4 pawn. c6 pawn is way stronger because now white can play bishop to f3 to guard this one. And this
But
pawn
I
is
think the c4 pawn is also not so bad, and black does have the a3 pawn against white's a2 pawn, Keti.
Yeah, this is what I wanted to point it out, Shri. I don't really know how I feel about these pawns because the pawn a3 gets more space in this closer to the back rank, but on the other hand, it requires some attention from the rook at least to be guarded. Like, yeah.
Yes, it's a battle of these two sixth rank pawns, and with rook a8, black wants to go queen to b4 to remove the queen on c3, so the black pawn can start advancing. Now the difference between the white pawn and the black pawn, the passed pawn, is that the bishop on e6 protects the c8 square, the winning square of the white pawn, whereas white doesn't have a similar piece to guard on c2. And when black plays c3, the a2 pawn also gets attacked. So not looking so rosy for white, Keti. Now I think we can switch back to being honest.
Back to honest. Rook b2, I like this rook to be so activated.
He just doesn't care about his f2 pawn, yeah? He just won't, because now it's also made for black. Rook b2, he attacked the f2 pawn, but Nihal instantly lashing out with rook d8. He saw yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because then in the end this will be a threat, right? This check, king here, and queen d8 checkmate.
Yeah. So he has to drop back to b8, and that went Nihal's way, because black played rook b2 and then he just goes back to b8. He kind of just wasted time there.
Yeah, I think it's now time to push the pawn. h4, yeah, he goes for it.
h4, h5. But white seems a bit better here, yeah? All those dark squares on the king side. You're tempted to play queen f6, but that allows the pawn to c3. So how do you move things forward with white?
Yeah.
Can you play
but then
something
rook
like rook
d8.
d3?
c2. Sorry?
I was thinking if you can do something like rook d3 here.
Yeah, rook d3. That's what I also thought, but then it was like, we don't really threat anything with this, right?
I thought you threatened the a3 pawn.
a3 pawn. I forgot about that pawn.
Yeah, the corner pawns always tend to be forgotten. Queen b6 threatening queen b2, so Nihal drops back with rook d2. Queen c5 and now g3. So with this rook d4 and rook d2, he improved the rook from d1 to d2 for free. Black just repeated with queen b6, queen c5, and now with g3, he improves his king's position a bit. And bishop g4, what did he miss there?
Wow, what's then? Rook d5? Take here? Take and rook d4. Take here, rook d4, you take this pawn and you take this pawn.
But that can't be +6, correct?
It can be +6, that's right. Maybe rook...
No, it's just rook d5, queen c6, rook h5. Rook d5, queen into c6, rook h5.
Oh my god, the queen is under attack and there's a checkmate.
Yes,
19
and
seconds! Can he see this? Oh
yes,
my god.
I think he will see it. I think he...
No.
He doesn't see it. He just
No.
didn't know that it was +6.
Yeah, when you have seconds on the clock and when you are not aware of the engine evaluation, you don't see these moves happening, right? And like you just calculate the first candidate move, you're not looking for the other moves. So that's
Yes,
quite...
and now this is just a draw, yeah? It's 3 versus 3. So,
Okay, if this is also a draw, so it means that we started with 2 draws and 38 minutes.
no, but I still wouldn't be totally sure though. Nihal, I think he's still trying a bit. As long as the queens remain on the board, the dark squares are a bit of a problem, yeah? So either one of the pieces get exchanged, it's a draw, but as long as both the pieces remain, white has some attacking potential.
Okay, but now this he found this very nice.
Look at how much time he had there. Almost 0.
Oh my god, this is second time he's doing this in this match. He made a move when he had 1 second on the clock. Jeez,
Yeah.
what's going on? He had to
And
give up.
now it's just a draw. But I guess Nihal would also be happy to take some time off from the match clock, just keep playing. Make Aronyak make the draw because Aronyak is the one who's down. And this is also a pretty common strategy in the speed chess championship. When you're in the lead, you try to
Waste
prolong the
your
game as much
opponent's
as you
time.
can.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
he's not giving away the draw for draw easily.
that's right. Wow, the opponent game seems to be drawish. Like white will not lose that opponent game. At least he can play f3. But I am really impressed how he's activating his king. Like he's not hiding the king. Like what I usually gonna do to hide the king next to my pawns. But he now tries to look for some chances and tries to activate the king. But,
Yeah, but
Sure.
okay, I mean it's a draw all the way, yeah. I mean yeah, and finally the queen gets traded off. The pawn comes to f5, king f4, king f6, f3 takes, and then king g5 and pawn to f4. It's
Another draw, second draw in this portion, 36 minutes before the end of the this portion, and yeah, Nihal is keeping 3 points advantage. I think it's he should be quite satisfied with these 2 draws.
yes, he would be quite satisfied. Although he had positive momentum, he was scoring really well, and you would have thought you would have expected him to win with the white pieces, but then he played 1b3 and the game ended in a draw. This is what happened to Keti.
I was 1b3. Okay, yeah. Okay. There is a question if we have the move of 50 move rule, and I think it's on chess.com, right?
Yeah. The 50 moves without any pawn capture and without any pawn. The 50 move rule. So there should be no pawn capture, and what is the other requirement? Without any pawn moves at all. No pawn moves, no
Or any
captures.
capture, and any capture
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, no capture.
Yeah, and Shri, we were talking about Nihal trying to get some of his rating to get into the to sit in the team, but the host country usually can nominate 3 local team, but obviously Nihal has the ambition to get the main team rather than to get the second or third team, right?
Yes, the host team has the right to nominate 2 teams and 3 teams if there are an odd number of entries. So at least 2 teams. The third team, it's not 100%.
Okay.
But it would increase your chances if you're in the first team. I think at the very least, it's nicer to be in the first team. And it's not just the qualification for the Olympiad, but also India will play in the Asian Games. The chess is part of the Asian Games, and Asian Games it's basically like the Olympics, but with only the Asian nations. So there you have only 1 team, and the spot for that is also at stake.
Oh wow, that's also a very important tournament then for chess players too. So yeah, we know this. We know how Indians are going to Europe, taking our rating, everything we want. We have that. I should admit that whenever I play against Indian kid, it's so tricky for me because they're playing so good, and then they're taking a lot of rating from you if you lose the game, and yeah, it's quite hard to play against them.
Yeah, it's quite hard to play against the junior Indians, and Aronyak is one such player. He plays more in Europe. You would say he increases his rating. His 2494 feeding is not yet 2500, but I do expect him to become a grandmaster pretty soon. And the more tournaments he plays, the more rating that he's likely to increase. And so far, I think he's shown excellent fight. Nihal was such a massive favorite. He has a 300 point. He has more than he has 350 point advantage over Aronyak in his chess.com blitz rating. And the smarter chess prediction predicted a score of 7.5, 1.5 to Nihal in 5+1 portion, I think.
Right.
So statistically, Nihal was a massive favorite, considering that the 3-point advantage is, I think, not bad at all for Aronyak. And with bishop h6, I think Nihal just kind of blended away this pawn, bishop into e5. And now if rook e8, white just plays f4. Nihal just missed this pawn.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So you guard your bishop and also just cut this diagonal here.
And so far in the 3 games which has been played in the 3+1 portion, I think Aronyak hasn't been inferior at all. He has shown that he can fight head-to-head, toe-to-toe against Nihal in this time control.
Yeah, that's true. Well, White has...
But what he has struggled to do is to actually win the game. Yeah, he's got himself in situations where he's better, he's winning, he has more time, but he struggled to close out the game. And oh my God, look at the evaluation bar there. What is happening, Keti?
Knight f6 now is impossible. Knight is still there. I feel that queen has some issues. Wow, what's going on?
It's not obvious. It's not obvious. But I think queen a8 was pretty strong there. Queen a8 was pretty strong because you were threatening bishop d6 and queen into c6. Instead, he goes queen c1, which attacks the c6 pawn, but black can easily defend. With queen e6 and potentially knight b4.
It's written drunk something at Nihal's t-shirt. You guys have somebody has written in the chat? Wow, let's... You were talking about something, playing like a drunk person, and he's playing the t-shirt. Yeah, I still don't believe that he's drinking, or he's drinking and playing then.
I didn't believe it, but after the last game, I start to have my doubts on what's happening.
Might be something. Right. Yeah, this is another game, I think, from Aronyak when he might just miss his chances and trade too much pieces and just, you know, Nihal could make a draw then if queens are off the board or bishops are off the board. It can be easier for Nihal.
Yes, I think he should try to keep his bishop here. Take bishop into e7, f into e4, and maybe something like bishop g5. Because if you play something like knight g5, bishop into g5, it kind of keeps this same pawn structure. And now if the queens are traded, it becomes pretty easy to hold as black. You have an extra pawn with white, but both of them are double pawns, and you cannot use them to create a passer. So white's only advantage is he has a bishop against black's knight and a slightly weak king for Aronyak. But if the queens get traded, he loses all the advantage. So he's taking decisions in such a way where it's impossible for him to lose, but it doesn't exactly increase his winning chances by much either. It's a conservative approach.
Yeah, what is this? King G8 was not.
Was there knight b5 there? Did he miss knight b5? Yes, yes, he missed knight b5.
Wait, how you're going to save the bishop?
You have to take a draw. Queen e1, queen e8, queen e1, queen e8. He's lucky that he had queen e1.
Queen check here, queen g7 is not the move there?
Yes. You have to take queen into c6 and try to fight here.
Oh, wow. The things are changing so much here. Like, black can start to get this knight at a safe spot and then try the queens.
Yes, that's kind of the problem when you try to play it too safe. The thing is, you cannot save yourself forever, so you have to go for it when you have the chance. You have to take your chances. But white had such a solid position that this is still a draw, and queen c8
So
check.
strange.
Oh, he could have gone queen c8 check there.
Yeah.
Oh, he allowed black to get out of that construction. He allowed black to get out of that unpleasant construction, and now Nihal has chances to even win this one. This would totally annoy Aronyak.
Yeah, Nihal started too much with his king. We know how good he can be with that. And he has 3 pieces, including king, as he's going to activate his king. Wow, that's a nice technique.
Now Aronyak is going to lose this, Keti. He's just going to lose this. The knight goes to c6, possibly, and actually he's not going to do that. Just march with his king. Defend the g6 pawn and advance your king.
God, look at
White
this.
doesn't have the option to trade queens. And
King d4, just like that. Knight d4
oh
now.
my god. This is such a meltdown by Aronyak. This is so sad to see, such a meltdown. He had such a nice position and he just blended that piece with queen d5 and knight b5, and he still managed to resist, but Nihal just took his chances. He got his wind. He had only 4 seconds,
No.
but
Wait,
I think
there was
queen
knight
e4 check
e4
was already
actually.
winning there.
Oh, sorry, queen e4. There was a queen e4 queen trade, but it could like get
But
complicated.
f5 and g6.
Yeah. So he stopped for that for a moment.
The queen is protected by the c5 knight.
Check. Queen e6. At some point he has to push h4 to weaken f pawn. No more check.
Yeah, but I think as long as black avoids repetition, he's just going to wear white down. His problem is if there is some kind of a repetition, not a threefold repetition, but a photographic repetition. White also has to be accurate with his checks, and he has lesser time, and he cannot decide when to start or stop the checks. So black has a massive practical advantage.
Wow, so complicated. You still don't know what's going on here. Cannot really predict.
And queen d4 now. Knight to d2, the knight to e4, yes, okay. Knight to e4, and it's over now for white, I think. The pawn on f2, the king will go all the way to e1 probably, and queen d1, king will go to e1, queen b1 check, queen d1, and then go out. Oh, king f3 and king g4. He wants to put the king on g4. From there's no checks.
Oh my god, king g4.
Queen d1 check.
No, seriously, Nihal is playing with this king already his 2nd game in a row. He's just going all the way around the board and he's winning with this maneuvering. That's so impressive. Like, I would be so scared to make this king moves on the board when there is a queen still. Like I would worry if I blunder a queen or piece, but he's very sure what he's doing.
Yes.
Wow.
But in this game, I think he had absolutely no danger at all. He could just march
Yeah.
his king. Everything was protected, and he managed to do exactly that and goes towards a 4-point lead as we have the break in the 3+1 segment. Nihal's first win in the 3+1 segment. And what do you think, Katie? Do you think Aronyak still has chances to bounce back?
When we still have this bullet section, anything can happen. And first of all, it's very good experience for him. So it's always good to know how the things are going for the future. You know how you should play, where to spend more time. And yeah, after all, it's very good for experience, right? And also to face with the first seed opponent. I'm sure he knew what was his chances here, and he should be fine with that. But I can just stay.
I'm sure he would get stronger with exactly such difficult opposition.
Yeah, that's right. So just to be here at this competition, top 16 best juniors in the world, I think this was also already so big success for all these participants. And here we have some of the names that we know so well, and we do have some of the rising stars like Aronyak. We just see how he's playing, and he needs to play more and more tournaments to show his best and to get more skills in chess. So here we have some of the matches that we know already qualified to the next stage, and now we have this match, and the winner of this match will face the winner of the Prague in Christoph.
Versus Christopher. Actually, Christopher won this match already.
Yeah, it happened, yes. I think I have the old graphic. This actually happened yesterday. I was watching that game. Was yesterday or the day before that?
Yeah, it was yesterday.
Yeah, it was one funny match actually when I think Prague promoted knight on c8. That was the match, which was so strange. Like you usually have auto promote queen in like I have this on my chess.com, but he had knight, which is so funny. Yeah, so they have a short break right now, Shri. Let's take a short break for us we can just grab some water, some energy to for the rest of the remaining portion. 25 minutes before the end of this portion. The clock is just frozen now. It's not me at this time. They froze
But
it
chat,
this
before we go into the break, do hit
Yes.
the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't, so more people can join in.
True. All right, guys, don't go anywhere because we will be back, and you don't want to miss the action here at this tournament. So we'll be back soon in just a few minutes.
If Height does not win this, this is such a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Oh, but he could even lose this. 98!
Oh, that's too much.
David, I don't know what to say.
I need a moment to recover from that.
This couldn't be right. Oh,
Whoa, Queen H1.
Welcome back, everyone. This is Junior Speed Chess Championship, and here we have the match of Nihal Sarin and Aronyak Ghosh. And actually, Nihal is leading this match, starting from the very beginning for the first game when he scored the point. And now we have the second part of the portion of 3+2. We have a final 24 minutes in this portion. And what's your predictions? How many games we're gonna see here in this time?
I think we'll see 4 more games, Katie. So 4 games have happened. There were 10 games in the 5+1, and usually there are 8 in the 3+1 section. So I expect 4 more games to happen. We usually break exactly at the halfway. So 4 games have happened, and I expect 4 more games. And chat, what do you think? Is Aronyak going to be able to get back into this, or is Nihal going to dominate all the way? It's a 4-point lead. It's a massive lead, but we have seen people coming back from such deficits. So let's see if Aronyak is able to get back into this.
Yeah, now we have this 4 points difference, and if the difference between these players are reduced to 2 points, then the things can get really tricky in the bullet section, right?
Yes, it can get really tricky in the bullet section, and Nihal has this is Aronyak's first ever speed chess match, Katie. First ever in the history of first ever in Aronyak's life, not in the history of his life. It's not such a long life yet, but yeah, first ever in his life. And this is Nihal's 10th junior speed chess match. We're not even counting the speed chess matches, but just the junior speed chess matches. This is Nihal's 10th match, and he has won 8 of these matches. He has lost only 1. Chat, do you know the only match in which Nihal lost in the JSCC? Which is the only opponent against which he has lost so far in the history of junior speed chess matches?
Oh,
This is
the
the trivia for chat as we tune back into the game, in which we intentionally missed the opening and the first few moves because we don't want to talk about it.
We're not talking about that, but I see in our chat, if we missed it, our chat will never miss that. Shri, so let's move forward to it and just tell us what's going on the black side of the board. These pawns a5, b5, c5, and it was also d5 there. Those pawns are usually very good to have some more space.
Black's queen side is developed beautifully, Katie. Look at how beautiful black's pawns are. Look at white's pawns on the queen side. They're just weaknesses.
Those 3 pawns. Yeah, the thing here, Shri, is that we have this position currently, and I just wonder what's going on with the pawns on the king side. We understand the queen side pawns, but how about the king side pawn? I also see g3 there, but it was not like fianchetto the bishop on g2, right? He played afterwards.
Exactly. This bishop on b2 with these pawns all fixed on the dark squares, d4, e5. It's really limited, and Aronyak is trying to get his bishop onto c5 so he can put his knight on e3 and take advantage of these squares and also the light square weaknesses in general, all the way from a8 to h1. Imagine a position with the queen on d5, bishop on c5, knight on e3. That would be black's dream. Also, the d3 is a weak point. All the light squares weak because white has the dark square bishop, pawns on dark squares, so he's not diagonally controlling any of the light squares. But with knight b4, he's also exposed the f6 point. So Nihal will try to put his knight on f6, the other knight on g5, and go for the counterplay. He has a 4-point advantage, so he can really go for it, with no inhibitions at all.
Oh, that's right. He's already there. Knight f3 has been played, and black is trying to trade the queens, which makes sense. Like without the queens, your king is safer, and then you have this advantage on the queen side structure. So that's the reason why here Nihal just declined to trade the queens, and he's keeping the queen on the board. He wants to play next move queen h3 to expose this pawn, and I can see that this is a very good chance here for white to win. How about knight takes h7, king takes h7, knight g5, and then queen to h3?
I think it works, Katie. I think it works. It looks so tempting. But the thing is, if you take knight into h7, I won't capture back. So he starts with rook c3, a ridiculously strong move, queen f5, and then the queen will be trapped. Queen is trapped after knight h4. So Nihal spotted this, He had all this queen h3 and attractive moves to make, but he spotted that the queen is getting trapped and he's winning the queen.
Wow, who could imagine this queen? Oh no, poor queen.
This is why you don't allow such knights to f6, Katie. They control a ridiculous amount of squares. And when you have such control, you have these options. You have these tactical options. And with the bishop on d4, he's keeping his bishop safe, probably at b6. And black is just completely losing again.
See, now we have some traits, but traits are good for white, as you asked this question earlier to our chat. When you have some extra material, it's always good to trade the pieces. And now black forked the queen and the rook at the same time, which could be a very good idea, but the f7 pawn now is hanging with a serious threats. This pawn will be lost, and then another pawn will be lost together with the king.
Nihal wins that, takes a 5-pawn lead. Meanwhile, we have the answer to the question in the chat, and Nilanjana is the one with the right answer. It was Sam Sevian. He defeated Nihal in the junior speed chess match, and continues to be the only one who has defeated Nihal in the speed chess match.
Okay.
In the junior speed chess.
Good to know. Good to know that. All right, another game, and now the chances are getting really slim from Aronyak. 5 points difference. Without the bullet portion, where we know that Nihal is freaking strong in that portion too. Yeah, this is not the best scenario for him indeed.
Yes, absolutely. He's freakishly strong in the bullet portion, and Aronyak's problem has been that he has struggled to convert his good positions. Yeah, he's managed to get several good positions, but it's a bit like this arm wrestling match where you are able to get your opponent down to this, but you're not able to do this and get the arm completely down, and your opponent just keeps defending at this, and then you just need that extra strength. And you're not able to do that. You can't win.
Of this the sensei of Kung Fu Panda.
Shifu.
that's you. Like you have these examples, and you sound like when you're bringing these examples, like you lived like 10 lives. A very experienced person. It's so nice. Like every time you bring some analogies, like, oh, that's the coach of the Kung Fu Panda. My favorite character, by the way.
The panda or the coach.
The coach. The panda is the absolute sweetheart, but I like the coach very much. The character of the coach.
Thank you. I can imagine Arjun being the panda. He does like to eat, and he does look more like a panda than anyone else. Nihal looks more like the mantis. Meanwhile, chat, we have a surprise incoming. We have a special announcement to make, but not at the moment. After we reach 400 likes. So do hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And at 400 likes, we will make the announcement. And whoever is in the chat, do stay tuned. Don't go anywhere, because the announcement is for those who are in the chat.
Yeah, you guys, we need to do that. How much we need, Sri? I see 319 now.
Yes, so we are pretty much there. It's 395. And Now we go towards 400. Yeah. And there we have it. We have crossed 400 likes, and the announcement for the winner of the diamond giveaway contest, the diamond membership giveaway contest. I didn't announce it before because I wanted to keep it free from free from the competition bias. People trying to look up Google and stuff. But the trivia question was actually the question for the diamond membership. Who is the only person in the history to have defeated Nihal in the Junior Speed Chess Championship? And Nilanjana is the only one who got the right answer. So Nilanjana gets the diamond membership, and I think it's a she, can write to Rakesh on Instagram, Twitter, or even in the YouTube chat to claim her diamond membership.
Oh, that's fun.
Congratulations,
Nice.
Nilanjana.
Congratulations. And it's absolutely beautiful tool to improve your chess and follow everything. When you have diamond membership, you can just everything is open for you. So congratulations for that.
Absolutely. And chat, do always stay open to all the questions that's asked on stream, because you never know what it might lead to. Today it leads to a diamond membership. Tomorrow it leads to some bigger prizes. So it's always nice to answer questions when you're in the chat, only when you're not in the commentary as a co-host.
Noted, Sri. I'm back to chat. I'm back to my normal being a chat. Yeah, I might be greedy to get some diamond membership. All right. So what's going on here? Nihal is still playing with the king. No, don't do that. Don't do it where the king goes. For now, king can't go too much farther, but what he's doing is unpinning his bishop. I'm not really happy with his position because the bishop on f8 looks like very passive to me, and pair of bishop of white seems to be very good. Why not to have these bishops?
Sorry, I kind of zoned out because the chat was completely distracted and taking me along with them. But yeah, I would suggest that Nilanjana just write on YouTube chat so we know it's her and her username. So just write in and write your chess.com ID in the YouTube chat and claim your diamond membership.
Yeah, do it now. Do it now before you forget what's going on. How are these guys doing all these things?
What just happened?
You see, you watched for a second on the chat, announced something, and he won. He is winning another game. Wow.
That would be his third win in a row if he wins this. And I didn't even see how that happened, Keti. It went in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, sure. Sorry, I'll show you right away. There was this kind of trap here.
Yes, I think yeah, we go to the queen into d6 position, and then we can ask the chat how things happened, and then come back to the live.
I lost the game because they started another game with b3.
No, let's go back to the game. Let's go to the game.
It disappeared. Sorry, Shri, it really disappeared. I couldn't just bring it back. But what's your idea why he's playing b3 so many times? Like this is the opening he's playing now in this portion more often. And do you think that Nihal is the player who switches the opening by the time control, or it's just like
he does like to switch openings a lot, Katie. He hates doing the same things over and over again. He loves to switch things up, and that is one thing. And the second thing is yes, I think b3 can be very tricky in shorter time controls. Because as a mainstream player, you study all the top opening choices, the popular openings, c4, d4, knight f3, e4. You usually have your response ready, but when the opponent plays something offbeat like b3, you usually are not ready for it, and it also leads to some pretty solid positions for white. So you're not really risking anything, but you're testing your opponent. So it's usually a fantastic choice with in shorter time controls. Nihal does like to switch things quite a bit,
Okay,
and
somebody
on top
clip
of everything,
that one because she's not very often saying that. So use this opportunity, catch it, make his as it as a history. So you guys, you know how to do this stuff. Wow, that's quite honest to think. That's quite honest thing. But okay, there's also another side of the board, this g3 bishop g2 usually for you, and just to have your favorite setup of the white's position here. Do you think this bishop is very strong here on this diagonal and can create a lot of danger on b7 pawn?
yes, Katie, it's very uncomfortable for black to be under the pressure, the b7 pawn, and it's not just that, but also the c5 pawn, because you cannot defend that pawn with b6 because of this pressure on the diagonal. There's pressure on c5, b7, and a7, all three of them, and with black, you cannot defend all three of them at once. You don't have your pieces placed in such a way to be able to defend them.
Yeah, that's why he has to play now by queen c8, which is quite passive move, but you cannot do it in the other way. And I agree with.
Do you
with
do you win
Shannon.
something with e4 and e5 now?
Sorry?
Oh no, there's
E4, E5?
I thought
Oh.
e4 and e5 win something, but there's bishop h3.
Ah, right. Yeah, well, you know what white can do? Just a simple move like rook b2, rook b1, then to increase the pressure there. And also knight a4, I like this move. Just to attack the pawn on c5 and ask white how he is going to guard the pawn on c5. It's double attack. It's attack twice and you can only guard it once, so...
Yes, and you had to play b6, but you gave up the exchange. And look immediately how he places his pawns on the light squares. The bishop and pawns, they kind of work as a pair, yeah, because they're the only pieces that can control diagonals apart from the queen. But queen has many important things to do. So the bishop and the pawns, they kind of work together. And when the bishop leaves, you control those diagonals with your pawns. You place them in the squares in which your bishop is no longer controlling. So Nihal immediately playing f3, controlling this, and yeah, he's just an exchange up, no compensation at all for black here. Queen, oh, knight g5, and this bishop is also now
traps
trapped.
the bishop. Oh no, it's not. Knight d4 was a save, but now he's
Yes,
getting all
but
the
now you
queen
lose
side
all
pawns.
the queenside pawns.
Yeah. Sri, I think this game will end not very soon, like they will maybe still gonna play a little bit more. And we have 7 minutes before the end of this portion, so that's probably one last game after this one.
Yeah, I think there might be even more than one game because the games are not
Okay.
taking as much time. So if this game ends before it reaches 0, then they'll have one more game. So potentially 2 more games incoming.
Yeah, extra rook for white. Usually you would maybe just resign here because you don't have much of the chances to survive. It's just a matter of time, and it's very good for Nihal right now what's happening. But also if you resign this, then the difference between the points is just too much, like 6 points, and it's getting worse and worse from for
It's actually
Aronyak.
7 points now.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's 7 points now, and it's not getting any easier at all for Aronyak. He's lost 4 games in a row, and this is kind of what happens when you lose those games where you're dominating, you're winning, and then you end up not even drawing, but you end up losing the game. I think that really activates tilt, and now Aronyak is, I think he's just lost his energy and will to fight. And in boxing, in such a circumstance, the referee would stop and stop the fight. But in chess, since it's not physical, we allow the fight to continue. But
Yeah.
Nihal is going to
You can
make
knock
a
out
pretty
yourself,
big score
right?
now.
You can like just leave. They can't leave. It's like, come on, you cannot do that. Yeah, that's interesting, right? When you have much of the options, maybe you just want to resign. But on the other hand, when you are a chess player, you're using this as a chance to play next game, and maybe he's not feeling like I have to give it up now. Like, I think he's just enjoying to play.
You mean Nihal, right?
Oh, Nihal is obviously enjoying to play because he's
Yeah, Aronyak,
awesome.
I'm really not sure if he's enjoying
Really?
this anymore. I can't imagine someone losing 4 games in a row and continuing to enjoy the fight.
That's also true.
Although I have played games myself apart from chess, and out there I lose a lot more, and I keep wanting to play one more. I keep wanting
Yeah,
to play
that's what
one more. So it starts as one last game.
that's how I play a game like for 3 hours or like after like till 3 a.m. Every day. I can just lose control because I'm losing the games and then I want to play more and just end the day in a positive way. But that's how I feel about Aronyak now. Like he wants at least to end this portion with a happy note. Like if you win, then it will be another portion. But the other portion is a bit tricky. It's a bullet section, but we have limited time there, like only 13 minutes. So basically, you cannot play too much of the games in that half an hour.
Yes, I think normally you get something like 12 games. No, I think you get like between 12 to 14 games in the bullet portion. So it's actually not less, yeah. It's not less, and I think if I had to make a prediction, I would say Nihal will try to win about 10 of those games. This is the point where, bullet is the point where the person who has the advantage, the initiative, they just go full tilt,
Yeah,
and the other person completely loses morale.
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
But
when
having said that, this one's going good for Aronyak. I think he's up a pawn. The c6 pawn is a weakness. He has his king side protected with queen f3 and queen g2, so he's not getting mated there. So maybe you're right, Katie. Maybe he's going to get one back.
Yeah, and if you end this portion with a win, then you can just start with a different um, different vibes, and you all just need to have a good emotions now to fight back and just to believe in yourself. And very often in these kind of situations when you're losing a match, it's very good to have someone on your side who tells you like, okay, you can still do it. Come on, you can fight for it. But unfortunately, these players now they cannot have much of the time to have communication, even though they have breaks. Probably they don't have much of the time to have this kind of talks. And yeah, they have to deal it all by themselves.
Yeah, they have to do it all by themselves, and honestly, it's not too different from boxing. I think it's like psychological boxing, this whole format of Speed Chess Championship. Meanwhile, the chat is going and talking about something called Prop Night. Do you know what it is, Katie? I have no idea what they're talking about.
Oh yeah, once you invited me to play that game, and I ended up not to because of my computer, but I really enjoy one of your streams when you played it. I like it.
Really? Really?
Yeah,
Did I
yeah.
invite you to that game? I thought it was something else. I thought it was some variant of chess. Maybe you're mixing it up.
No, I
And maybe
don't miss
chat
it.
is also.
It was some scary band that you were you were. Yeah, you show your true character, so yeah, I liked it.
I don't know what you're talking, Katie. I didn't know what the chat is talking. But let's get those likes going, chat, once again. Let's try and reach 500 likes and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. We are so close to 44K. So more people can come in and more fabulous tournaments like the Junior Speed Chess Championship. We have 2 more Indians fighting it out in the JSCC, Raunak and Arjun, apart from Nihal. Prag lost yesterday. And we also have exciting tournaments like the Women's Speed Chess Championship. Will we see you there playing, Katie, or commentating?
For now, I am pretty much focused for my upcoming tournament. And yeah, for now, I've not planned anything, to be honest. But if I have the opportunity, I might think to commentate on them because, after all, it's very good to. When you're a commentator, you're learning a lot of things, and I can use this for my chess tournament as well. So.
Yes, for sure. I think commentary is one of the most fun things to do, especially when you're working your brain without engine and you're trying to
Yeah.
find things.
And I'm lucky enough to
Uh,
work with all the best grandmasters, so I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining.
But I think both I and the chat would also love to see you play in the Women's Speed Chess Championship. What do you say, chat?
Um, you might want me to see as a commentator there. It's quite tricky, Shri. It's quite tricky because you have to qualify, and then it's getting even more harder when you qualified to the top. Oh my God, what's going on here?
What's going on here? Is it going to be another loss for Aronyak?
Unbelievable! Like he came out from death. Nihal can save the game when he's losing big time. Like he's down to 2 pawns now, and he just won a piece.
Yes, Katie, and when this happens, when you're like constantly losing, you kind of stop believing that you can win. Maybe you don't, maybe at a conscious level, you still try to believe, but at a subconscious level, you stop believing that you can win these games, and it prevents you from taking the opportunities even when they're presented right to you.
Yeah.
A couple of repetitions by Nihal, and then he changes, so he gains some time.
That's true. That's true. I got distracted from the chat, and just come in there, just made an announcement that I'm gonna play a tournament in 10 days. Yeah, that's what I meant. It's happening really fast, and oh no, another lose from Aronyak when he had so good chance to win. I think this is very good tournament for him to figure it out what is his weakness, what he wants to work on, and definitely he has to work on how to improve the better position, right? There is this topic that many players, including myself, are struggling. We can have better position, we can have winning position, but then it takes so much effort to convert it that there are like separate topics to do it, like there are books for it, and I'm sure this is very good experience for Aronyak, and he's gonna work on that. He's gonna work and improve that.
Yes, and you're completely right. It's an opportunity for him, and also it's exactly playing against these stronger players. You first get a better position, and you struggle to convert it, and then you keep getting those better positions. You keep putting yourself in those positions, and finally, at one point, you learn to convert them. You learn to do things at their level, and that's when you rise up a few levels. So that's exactly how the process of improvement takes place. It's pretty similar to lifting weights. You try to lift weights, you struggle, you keep doing those repetitions, and then it becomes easier for you with repeated practice, and then you go to the next weight. Again, it's initially hard, hard repetitions, and then you get used to it. True. And then at some point it becomes difficult to make that improvement, to make that rise. You kind of start stagnating. I think the process of improvement is similar across fields.
Yes, I agree with you, Shri, and I've experienced that improvement in myself. I just started to train a little bit physically, and I started to practice yoga, and I was struggling very much to do all these exercises. And then I just realized that when this one exercise was repeating for the next time, I was able to do that stronger. And then there was third time, and it was no problem for me to do it anymore. And it happened in one lesson. And I was thinking about this process, like, come on, like 10 minutes ago, I thought I couldn't do it, and I wanted to give it up. And then I tried it second time, and the third time, I can do this, I can hold this, and it was so impressive. And this is not only in yoga or like physical sports. Chess also works in the same way, so you can always improve, and can be always persistence for your improvement. So, yeah, that's.
And
sure.
it begins with just one game. As the Nilanjana pointed out in the chat, she has never played a game before, but she has a diamond membership and her chance to play as much as she likes. So it starts with one game. It starts with the beginning,
Yes.
and that's all you have to do.
True. Sri, I can see that we have time updated 30 minutes for the final portion, which is now the 1+1 portion. So the bullet one, the most fun part, we might see here incredible blunders or sacrifices or any other thing. So we're pretty much excited to see that. And after 30 minutes, this match will be over. So once again, let's take a look at the prices. The winner of the match will get $715 $15 and plus 500 divided by the win of the percentage. So that's going to be a very good price in the end of the day for one of these players. And also we can take a look at the all the bracket, all the players. Here we have these junior players. Some of them are well known already, like Arjun and Prague, and others too. But some of the players are just new for me and perhaps for you, Shri, as well, and for our viewers. So it's good to see new faces and new talents coming to the chess world. This is Junior Championship entry. It's very interesting because of the COVID time. Many of these players might not improve their rating and their title because, like, we have now international masters and not having chess tournaments to get your norms. You know, this is quite bad time for these players. But luckily things are going back to normal slowly. And let's hope that these players gonna very soon become grandmasters and winning many tournaments. For now, we are here, and the winner of the match of Nihal Sarin and Ghosh, Aronyak gonna face Christopher Yu in the next match. And now we already have those players who has qualified. I don't know what's the story behind this. Oh, it's only Kirill Shevchenko who qualified from the other side, right?
Yeah. Seems so. And but it's a pretty formidable lineup there, you know. Hans Niemann, Arjun, and Ronak, all of them about 2600. These are the favorites to, I think, advance to the quarterfinals. And Ronak was the runner-up of the Junior Speed Chess Championship last year. So it's going to be, I think, incredibly exciting to see who marches forward. And as you were talking about the international masters, Katie, I was just thinking to myself, it's always sad to see an international master who hasn't yet become a grandmaster.
It's what?
It's always sad to see an international master who is not yet a grandmaster. I have a few friends who are stuck.
Yeah, I have a few friends. That's true. But for these kids, I believe that it's just
a matter of time. Yeah,
yeah.
Kids have hope, unlike our friends.
True. Yeah. So there are two reasons to stuck with your title. First, you cannot improve yourself, because to get the grandmaster norms is not easy. It's not a joke at all. And then you have to have the rating as well. I kind of have a feeling if you don't achieve that at a certain age, which is this junior age, then it's gonna get harder and harder for obvious reasons. And you were talking about this different subjects which comes to your life when you are getting older, and then even more subjects are coming when you're older. Like you said, peaceful 20s, but it's not like that. I think it's the opposite of that. And I believe that it's easier to get the GM title when you're a junior player. For me, it's just like that. I don't know how you think, because then it's gonna get harder.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I completely agree. It's I think everything is easier to do when you're younger, but I don't mind. With in your 20s, I think you have a lot more freedom in general to do whatever you want with your life.
Yeah, but by the age what we had experienced is a confidence tree, because at this age you can freely have some snacks on the camera because you have more confidence for that. Rather than now Nihal can have at his age. So yeah, we are having these benefits for sure. Is Keti talking about the marriage? No. There are some topics we're not talking, right, Sri? We agreed on that. Let's not go for that part of the talks. Sri, do you think they're gonna have more time for break so we can also take, or they will start soon?
I think you know better, Katie. I think you know better, but I think we do have time for a very short break.
Like I kind of have a feeling it's gonna start in 2 minutes.
Yeah, so we can have a 2-minute break.
Yeah, so let's take 2 minutes break. Sri really wants to have that cookie.
And when we come back, chat, do make the likes to 500.
Okay, yes guys, please make sure that you follow the channel and on Twitch and also on YouTube, because we're online in both sides, and we'll be back soon in just a few minutes. I believe it's just 2 minutes, so don't go anywhere. And welcome back at the Junior Chess Speed Championship. This is the final portion of today's match, 1+1, and the game has already started and they're playing so fast, Sri.
Well, it is a speed chess championship, Katie's. They have to show speed along with all the other qualities needed to be successful in chess. But speed is a very important component of skill. And the match is at the very final portion, the 13-minute bullet portion. Nihal has a 8-point advantage, and it didn't look so one-sided. In fact, the match was at 8-5 at one point, and Aronyak was actually the one who was pressing, having an advantage in the next two games, but he lost both those games, and he ended up losing 5 in a row. So the match score stands at 13-5 for Nihal, but Aronyak will hope to come back after the break, and let's see if he is successful in doing it. At least score more in the bullet portion than his opponent.
Yeah, true. That's so interesting. Like all these points that Nihal has now for himself, it was just we thought that Aronyak gonna get those points, and it turned out that there was some blunder in the very end. So Nihal is very good in defense. He's holding the position nicely, and whenever he has chances, he's using all these tricks. And all I can recall from his side, I remember just one or two blunders from Nihal. But rest of the games, he's just in a fantastic shape today.
Yes, and it comes with years of practice. Yeah. Years of practice in your childhood. For example, you see Hikaru doing similar things all the time, and that's because he's been doing this for years. And it's the same with Nihal. When you do something repeatedly at a very young age, you really skill up there. So it's not an accident, and you can't match years of practice with a few days or few weeks of practice. So that's what makes all the difference.
Right, and here we had the repetition in the weekend game. The game ended in a draw. And the next game has started. White has recognized center. Black allows White to have a center, and now it's striking back with e5. And just having, I think this is gonna be a very sharp game because we have this opposite side castle, and as we can see now, it gives White huge advantage because of White is the first to start the attack. Like White can do some moves like g4 to open up, sacrifice some pawns on the king side in h5.
Yes, but it's not so easy because g4 it gives up the f3 pawn, and in these types of positions, one move which blenders can totally turn around the evaluation. So it looks all attractive and nice, but when you have less time, it's very easy to make a mistake which turns around the evaluation. Which is why again something like the modern defense is actually a pretty nice opening in Bullet.
Mora?
Aronyak, he's playing fast. He's come out decided that he will play fast.
Ooh.
What happened? Okay.
Oh, what's going on? What's going on?
Don't get carried away by the evaluation bar because it's Bullet, and they can't sense things in 1 second, which the computer says. I'm watching in a different screen without the evaluation bar, and I just don't see why it's great for Black at all. It looks fantastic for White, especially in a Bullet game.
Yeah, true. It looks just fine, but like, you know what? Maybe this attack on the king side is not so dangerous. Like king can get on h7. Wow, there is something.
Yeah, now the king has head-turn. Black is 2 pawns up, and he's queen into e4. This bishop into b2 check. Look at Nihal with his tricks, with his instant bag of knight c5.
Oh my god, this is a fork. Just take this, and bishop c1, just safe move. Wow.
Yes, a safe move, and the attack is still going on. So I think that will be Aronyak's. I almost said Aronyan out loud.
Yeah, I think
that will
we're
be
saying
Aronyak's.
that quite often, but we ignore that. We just ignore that. Wow, what's going on here? 96. White is winning h7 somewhere. Should be the move. Queen a7.
Queen into b7. Oh, you take everything. Queen f7, king g5, or he's marching his king in the middle game now, Keti.
Again, oh no. But at this time he's
just take the
forced.
pawn. And now just take the g3 pawn and get done with it. Come on, Aronyak. You gotta win this.
Wow.
If Aronyak wins this will be his first win in how many games, Keti? I can't even remember the last game he won. When was that? I think we have to go all the way back to the 9th game. It was no, it was the 8th game. He won the 8th game. It was 5-2, and he made it 5-3. And now we are in the 21st game.
You have very big advantage 3 now because I can't really recall any of those games at this point. So we trust you. Whatever number you say, we trust you. But hold on, some things are changing here. It's not only 2 pawns. It's 2 pawns extra, and the bishop endgame should be winning. But
Yeah, also the A7 square and the G1 square are in the same diagonal, so
there's no hope
Uh,
here for
yeah, there's no hope.
black. Yeah, here
So
we have
that
a
is
destination.
finally Aronyak's first win in, I lost the count, I think in 12 games.
Wow. Yeah, this is the win you need, actually. And if he needs the second game now, he might get his confidence back. 22 minutes before the end of the this match. I still believe that his chances are just very slim, but always want to have the shortest, distance between the points, the space, and you might even look for some chances.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, the
Did you-
bullet is
did you
crazy.
just have a-
Look at this! Already black is winning here after a4 move. Wow. Just taking
you
bishop
thought-
c5.
Yes, just take on E3, bishop to C5, and it's GG.
Yeah. Now knight c4 is threat king h1 should be played in bishop g2. That's very tricky. And Aronyak has 1 minute on the clock. 9 seconds. Oh, he went for the queen sacrifice.
I think Aronyak is going to win this. He's lost all pressure. He has the momentum on his side. He has nothing to lose anymore, and he's playing with freshness and confidence. And theoretically, the match is. Oh, look at the move, D2 attacking pawn G2. What a move!
Excuse me, what's
By
that?
Aronyak.
You take by the knight and bishop b3 and you drop the knight and then you drop one of the rooks. This move is a brilliant move. Wow, and he had to resign there. Wow,
So
and
Aronyak still has chances to come back here, Keti. 20
yeah, look at
more
his
minutes.
face.
The
He's
lead
more
has.
confident now. And Nihal changed his posture. He put the hand on his head, and that was actually what Aronyak had in few games now. And he's we can see clearly on the face the difference of you can easily guess that something changed here.
It really helps to trust your instinct and play with its speed, which is not easy to do when you're low in confidence. Confidence plays a major role, and momentum. But when you do that, when you're successful, things flow a lot better.
Yeah, Aronyak scored 2.5 points out of 3 games. That's a very good statistics for him indeed, and can be quite hard for Nihal.
And we thought Bullet was Nihal's strongest portion, which it actually is. He's the strongest in Bullet, but boy, how has things turned around in such an unexpected way?
True. I like this rook e5 idea just to cut this diagonal. This might
And
be
Nihal,
safe.
look at how Nihal's changed his strategy. Yeah, he's the one who's bulleting out moves now. Look at the incredible speed. He was having more than 1 minute until the last few moves, but now White has the A passed pawn. Bishop A6 C4, Bishop D7 C4. How does Black defend here? Do you just take the F5 pawn, Katie? Just take the F5 pawn?
Yeah, I was thinking maybe after bishop d7 or before bishop d7. Ooh, g4? What's that for? She wants to play g3 queen h4 in checkmate?
Of course. If there's a way to checkmate, can't trust you to find it. Rook b1, bishop at f1, and rook into f1. And the
And
A
white has
pawn
an extra
stands
pawn on the
dominant.
queen side, which is pass pawn that can get really dangerous. Queen h4 is a bad move. I think
G3 is
F6
such a strong move. Do you think this is a third win in a row for Aronyak?
Oh my
Look at
god.
Nihal.
Look at Nihal. He's so stressed. He's panicking.
Yes, he's like, oh no, not another time.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, what?
Oh,
is
what
that?
happened there? What is Rook b1? He blended. He missed e2.
Jesus, what's that? You cannot
It's
save the
checkmate
king.
for white now.
No, queen g2 is a checkmate. You can avoid that.
Yes, you can't avoid that. The rook was on f1 with rook f2, protecting the second rank.
Oh
And
my
the even square was
God.
protected by the white queen, but he missed that, and this changes the game. Back to a 7-point lead for Nihal, and that could be the final moment in this match where Aronyak had chances to come back.
Wow, that was heartbreaking for Aronyak, and on the other hand, Nihal, I think he's very happy with all the things happening, but he was struggling. He was worried about his game, and this is the first score for him in the bullet portion.
Yes.
It's
But now
so
the momentum has
interesting.
changed.
It's so interesting that Shri, like if they started from bullet portion, maybe we could see the different direction, because if they started in this way, you know, to have a heavy start at the beginning, it's just very bad to come back then.
It is indeed
Yeah.
very hard to come back from below. Oh,
Oh my
blunders again, Keti. Nihal was completely winning, but he missed bishop e4. Missed bishop e4, and he's not happy with himself. A very uncharacteristic blunder by Nihal there.
Yeah. He's showing more impressions on the screen, we can see. Aronyak just has one face all the time. He wins, he loses. He just has one face impression here. It is equal. It is equal. It's not something that White is losing here, but it just feels very bad when you blunder some moves like bishop e4 before.
It does, and it has changed the momentum. Bishop into h2, queen bait. Is there some g3 here? Is this like the Fischer's pawn grab, or is it better
I
here?
think
Looks
it's
better here, yeah.
always- Yeah, it's always tricky to have these kind of pawns off the board. G3, that's interesting. Take, take.
Take.
Knight G4.
And wow, knight g4, super strong.
Ooh, what's going on? I have no idea what's happening in this position. I kind of have a feeling maybe it's time to play something like h6 or h5 just to make sure there is nothing on the back rank, and now rook can also get involved, like rook c3 or yeah, he's going for that.
He's gone for that, and Nihal.
Wow, this is so interesting now. This is so
Nihal is
interesting.
not having that flow that you normally associate with him in the bullet. Yeah. Do you think he would repeat now, Aronyak, or
No,
would he just
no,
try
he
to
should
win?
not do it. He should not do it. He has 15 minutes, and this is his chance, I think.
Yes, but how do you continue?
Now,
Repeats one more time, and now knight f2 check.
maybe he just repeats here. Oh, knight f2.
Nah, he goes for it. He made up his mind to go for it when he took rook into d3. But if White keeps the a pawn, I think this can even turn around for
Oh,
Black here.
he's not really afraid of these exposed kings, because we have seen that he's going to move around by the king. h4 is on the board. Oh, queen trade?
What? That doesn't look good. That doesn't look good for Aronyak.
No,
That
not
just
at
doesn't
all.
look good for Aronyak. The a pawn is just going to go so fast.
King g2 now.
He starts to move his pawns, but how do you move it? Oh, h3 check is lost. The pawns he just threw it away.
King
He got on
f2.
a tilt, and now these pawns will be easily stopped, and the a pawn is
Wow.
impossible for the black king to stop. So another win for Nihal there, and Aronyak resigns.
Wow, 2 losses in a row. Badly lost from Aronyak. He has great potential, but something he's lacking in that kind of positions, right?
Yes, I think it's also the pressure, scoreboard pressure. So he couldn't take a draw in that game, for example, and he couldn't repeat. So he had the burden to create something, and there's not quite enough in the position.
Yeah. So
And
13 minutes.
I think PMD has the answer to what he was lacking, Katie. He blames the commentator James, especially one commentator, you.
Oh, okay, come on. Who made him moderate?
I think it's fair.
PMD.
Why did you do this,
Yeah,
Katie? Why would you do that
my
to
chat
Aronyak?
is here to blame me for everything, of course. It's my fault.
Aronyak was playing so well, and you jinxed him, and he's lost 2 in a row. Why would you do that?
Oh no, oh no. So yeah, PMD is a moderator on the channel. It means that his comments will not be blocked. So 96.
Oh, and there we go,
Okay.
Keti. Thanks for releasing the jinx.
Wow. B3 once again, Shri. This is still repeating. Let's see what's going on now.
B3 is a move you can play when you have nothing to gain or nothing to lose. Either of these situations. And when it's a critical situation, you play a decent first row when something matters.
Okay, you were kind for took B3 for a second. Now you're back to yourself for a moment. I
Back
thought it
to
was
speaking the
someone
truth.
else talking. Wow, the evolution bar is changing, just jumping up and down in each move. This computer is really confused right now.
Yeah, but Nihal's position doesn't look good, to be honest. Is there some 90 to E3 there? Was there a 90 to E3 blow?
93 and then rook c6 perhaps. Or e5
Yeah, also now
even.
E5 is a threat. Can you
Yeah.
just play E5 now? And white pieces are stuck. Yeah.
Wow.
The bullet push in Aronyak has totally looked stronger. And this doesn't bode well for Nihal because it's his strongest fort and it's just not flowing for him. So many blenders coming in.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, knight b5? What's that for? Like, if you take the knight, then rook d5, rook c6, that was winning?
Also possible, I guess. But knight to d3 also possible. Threatening discover attack, attacking c6, d5, and d1 all at once. And Nihal
resignation.
designs. So Aronyak, he's I think credit to him, he put up an excellent fight and he's taking the fight to Nihal in the bullet portion. If he could have resisted a bit better in the 3+1, converted a couple of games, then the match score would have been a lot closer. And I think even now the match score doesn't accurately reflect how much of a fantastic fight.
I think so too. Like if Aronyak could keep this difference of the points like up to maximum 3 points, he could fight back perfectly well in the bullet section. Because in bullet section, we know that Nihal is very strong. He's a favorite here, but it's bullet. You never know what's happening, and it's quite tricky bullet. It's not something that you can like blunder something and can go through it. Because 1 second increment can change a lot of things. Like you can just pre-move all the moves and win the games with extra rook or extra piece.
Yes, absolutely. The 1 second increment, it makes... Oh, wait, why did he just give up that pawn? And again, you see Nihal evident in his expression that he just missed bishop into d6. Wow. And... he's not happy about it. b5, there's knight e5, so he just accepts that he's down a pawn and carries on. But now queen c8 check, and do we see some queen e8 or queen d7? Yes, queen e8.
Queen e8,
and
f7 pawn is
no way to
now.
defend the f7 pawn either.
Yeah. We have seen some games where Aronyak just missed wins, but
now he's playing more confidently. Yeah? He's going queen c8, queen e8. He's making these forward moves. When he had more time, he was hesitating to make such moves.
Oh my God, this
And
king.
I think Nihal has to resign.
I think after king
beast.
h4 there was king h2 and g3 checkmate in the end. Wow.
Yes. And the lead is down to 5 points. And a classical speeches strategy would be to try and run the time out. But Nihal is not doing that. He's still confident, backs himself up.
Let's go forward. I hope we don't miss any moves. Oh yeah, we missed a lot of moves. So it was my internet. It was not me.
Finally you accept it, yeah?
Yes, I had to. So what's going on here? White is winning, according to the
Nihal is back. White is a pawn up. And during the brief little break, Nihal has managed to have this very nice position from the Alekhine's defense in this game. And I think he's going to convert this. Yeah, he's won this. And with that, I think he's conclusively won this match because 6-point advantage, just about 7 minutes to go. I don't see Aronyak being able to come back into this.
No, and what I have also observed is that Nihal is not like losing, just using this using the method of waste some of the time of the opponent. Like when he's losing, he's just resigning there and playing next game right away.
Yeah, he's just playing.
Shri, can you hear me?
Yes, Keti, I can hear you.
I don't know what's going on, to be honest.
Yeah, 6-point lead once again, just coming back to this. And Aronyak seems to be bouncing back in this game though. He is about, it's equal material, but he's probably winning the e5 pawn. Black will win the c6 pawn, but in the end, White will have better pawn structure on the king side.
Yeah.
Rook d5, I think e4 now. Rook c5, there is takes and queen into e6, so Black goes rook d6. And White will just take bishop into e5. Nihal will take the c6 pawn, but this bishop on e5 would be incredibly. Oh, I don't like c7. I think he missed knight c4 there. He keeps a very strong bishop on e5, but now Black has a pass pawn on c4.
Yeah. And he's just given back this rook for the bishop and the pawn. I'm not sure if he's going to lose this game because there are not too much things going on here for White either.
Yes, the c4 pawn is just, I think, absolutely dominant. Rook f7, rook
I was
c7.
thinking of
Okay,
rook
but
d7 or rook b7 at some point. Wow,
queen
this
g3
gives-
attacking the rook, but just move over the rook, yeah. And
Yeah.
the c4 pawn should, I think, pull through.
Oh, this gives Black huge advantage. It's a check, queen e5 check, perhaps rook b2. He's going for f2 pawn.
Yeah, he's going for the f2 pawn, and now the e4 pawn or even the h5 pawn. Again, it's like, adding all these pawns to your cart, and queen into a6, queen e2 check, queen d1.
Wow.
Queen to c2, taking control of the diagonal,
No check
and now
there.
queen d3, and pawn goes to c2.
c2, and then you give a check and you can promote.
Yep. Just be wary of the perpetual check. Yeah, queen g6 and queen e8. Queen to g5 and then c1 queen.
Yeah. Wow.
And
Nicely
that's
played.
no.
Last 2 minutes, and seems. Oh, this is not it. I thought it was an end. Oops. So we have now last 2 minutes and 40 seconds. Shri, this is practically impossible to win
Catch up.
6 games, right? So we will not have tiebreakers here, but still, last game.
But still, Aronyak would love to get back some of those wins, and end it on a sweet note. When things don't go your way, but you still end it well, it makes a whole lot of difference. What ends well is usually well.
True. That's
It's not always true.
But Nihal has a face like he's not going to give any charity away now. He still wants to end this match in his way. So he's fighting, he's pushing the pawns forward. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna have more
Nihal
games
is like,
today.
enough is enough.
Enough is enough. Do you think that we're gonna have one last game, or they will? No, it's impossible to have one last game now.
No, I think we'll have one more game after this. Nihal will, I think, win this. He's winning a piece, and then we'll have one more game. And the momentum is on Nihal's side. If I was Aronyak, I would try to somehow run the. Yeah, he's designed.
Oh,
It's designed,
okay.
and
Wow.
I would just want to end this if I was Aronyak.
In 1 minute
and-
and 40 seconds, they played 2 games. This is incredible how fast they are.
Well, if you have a short game which ends early, then
Wow.
oh, bishop at d4, nice tactic there by Nihal. Although his king safety is it's a bit scary.
Yeah,
Bishop c4.
bishop f7 is now a threat, and h6, g6 is also a threat, and then knight d5 can be at some point a threat. Queen back to g7. I think h6 was a very... oh, look at this. Yeah, let's go. If
Wow.
you're losing a match,
So
let's
Aronyak
lose
is
this
ending
way.
it with a win. And there's
Wow.
one more game incoming,
Oh
Keti.
my god, they played 3 games in 2 minutes.
This
How
is
it's
the final
possible?
one.
Wow. Nicely played.
So the final game of the match with Nihal having a 7-point advantage over Aronyak. I think it's a pretty decent score.
Yeah, it's. I think Aronyak did amazing job. It can be really hard to face such a strong opponent first seed in this lineup. So I think he just did fantastic.
Yes. Fantastic. Queen b3 check, king h8. Do you see bishop at e5, knight f7 check coming? Yeah.
Oh wow.
Wait, is there some rook? Oh no, the queen doesn't get trapped. So queen just goes to h4 after rook e8.
Yeah.
And I
or
guess Nihal will have the last lock, which is a bit of a pity for Aronyak because bishop b5, yeah, he's just going to decide. He's just going to
this
finish
is
this
the
off,
last
and
game.
Nihal
This
wins
is the last
last
game. They can start a new game. So that's it. Tree. That's it. This match ended.
It's a pity for Aronyak, Katie, because when I play against Nihal, we have this agreement that if he has a higher score, then we stop with my last win.
Really?
Yes,
Oh my god. It's
because
so
one
cute.
person has the higher score, the other person has the last win, and it's kind of win-win.
Oh, that's so
So-
sweet. Wow. That's very nice. That's very nice idea. If you lose a match, you at least win the last final game, so they are not. They're both happy. So yeah, Sri, that's the end of this match, and we have here. Nihal Sarin won the match. And we can say that Aronyak put really nice battle, nice fight, and well done to him once again. I'm sure we're gonna see him in this tournament or
Rise
the
up.
other tournaments. He is a top seed at this tournament, at top 16 players, and FIDE rating is 2494, very close to 25. And in the world ranking, he's 49 in juniors, when we have Nihal being world number 7 in junior rating category, and top first seed here at this tournament. So absolutely, he was a favorite, and the things went to his way, to Nihal's way. But we should point it out that Aronyak put a very nice fight.
Brilliant
on the-
resistance, very spirited resistance. Nihal OP in the chat, but I think also Aronyak OP, because Aronyak fought so excellently well, and I'm really proud of the fight that he put up, and it was just a bit of a lack of practice and experience from his part, but
Yeah.
a few wins, and things could have potentially gone another way.
That's right, Shri, I agree with that. I have the same feelings. So the winner of this match, Nihal Sarin, will face the winner of the other match, Christopher Hugh, and then they're gonna have this match, and the winner of this matchup gonna face the winner of the other match of Brandon Jacobs and Leang Werder, Evander, and then we have another matches still happening. Another Indian player and the rising star, already star, I don't know, maybe he's already a star, world-class player, Arjun, gonna play against his opponent. Yeah, very much looking forward to that matches as well, and I'm so curious who's gonna win this tournament. It's very strong field. It's a super strong field.
Absolutely, Katie. It's a fantastic and amazingly strong field. In a way, it feels like India versus the rest of the world.
It always feels like that, I should admit, but all the competitions are looking like that. And yeah, we don't just speak it out. Well, I think that's it for us today. Thank you so much, Sri, for co-hosting the event and being amazing co-host once again. I very much enjoyed this. I hope our chat also enjoyed on YouTube and also on Twitch. You guys make sure to follow both channels and to join once again for the other events, because there will be a lot of events happening on this channel, so please do that now. And Sri, final words goes to you.
Thank you so much, Katie. It was lovely commentating with you and co-hosting with you as always. It's been a long time, but look forward to commentating on a lot more matches and streaming together. And a big thank you to the chat as well. They were amazing. And thanks for staying through. And again, look forward to spending a lot more time with all of you.
Yes, thank you so much, Sri. Thank you, chat, and see you very soon, hopefully. So have a good day, everyone, and see you somewhere at some channel, I don't know. Also, make sure that you guys follow Sri's YouTube channel, as he's streaming chess and other games too, where he's a scary bunny. If you don't know yet, please do it. And also you can follow my Twitch channel, and we usually stream there time to time together, so you guys know how to do it. And yeah, it's a final goodbye from us.
If Height does not win this is such a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Oh, but he could even lose this. 98!
Oh, that's too much.
David, I don't know what to say.
I need a moment to recover from that.
This couldn't be right. Oh,
Whoa, Queen H1.
I'm out. I'm gonna see y'all tomorrow.
What a great move.
And then Rook takes G3 back, and the queen's trapped. That is one of the most amazing queen traps I've seen. Wait, B5. Oh my gosh. He's losing a piece. And look at him. He looks away. He can't believe it.
Oh my God.
Nihal trying to give checks, but actually now the pawn is moving forward. The pawn cannot be stopped. Bishop d6.
Oh, you win the time!
He loses on time.
What did we just witness? I think that White's position is about to collapse.
Yeah, but he sacrifices again, but it's not a
my
sacrifice.
God.
It's a double attack.
If Height does not win this is such a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Oh, but he could even lose this. 98!
Oh, that's too much.
David, I don't know what to say.